Chapter 1142. It's a new week. Please help me buy some tickets. You're the artifact spirit of the virtual illusory realm, D. Shirtion muttered as he looked at the excited girl. Yes, Juan, was the artifact spirit of the virtual illusory realm. She had been waiting for Big Brother Shirtion for a long time. Why are you only here now? I'm very sad to be here alone. That young girl blinked her eyes and pouted her little mouth. She looked angry, but there was an indescribable cuteness to her. Her childish voice seemed to pierce through one's heart. It made one feel a sense of compassion for her. You know me? D. Shirtion did not let his guard down just because of a few words. He furrowed his brows slightly and asked again, Of course I know you. How could I not know Big Brother Shirtion? She tapped her forehead as if she was trying to recall something. She paused for a moment before continuing. I remember the first time I met Big Brother Shirtion was when you were refining a strange zither. It attracted a lot of desire energy. D. Shirtion nodded. The first time he came into contact with the energy of desire was when he was refining the 7 sins demonic zither. Later on, you created a demonic vein based on the 7 emotions and 6 desires in your body. At that time, I already noticed you. You were lost in sorrow, and I was the one who helped you recover. I'm amazing, aren't I? As she spoke, she looked as if she wanted to be praised or rewarded. It was you back then. Sakura was slightly startled. Back then, he was lost in the sorrowful state and was almost unable to extricate himself. He originally found LV Chichin and thought that it was LV Chichin's life aura that saved him, temporarily suppressing his sorrowful thoughts. He didn't expect that the real reason was actually the help of this young girl in front of him. It was the virtual illusory realm's help. Yes, Juan said happily. Later on, whenever Big Brother Shirtion cultivated a new type of desire, I would help him send it into Big Brother Shirtion's body. Now, you've fused 12 types of desire. I'm so happy that Big Brother Shirtion can finally take me out of here. I don't have to stay here anymore. This place isn't fun at all. The joy on his face seemed to come from his heart. You want to follow me? D. Shirtion took a deep breath and asked, You want to follow me? That's right. I'll go wherever you go, Juan said without hesitation. If I want to take you away, then you can only fuse with my inner world, the Tion Fa world, and become the supreme law of my inner world. Are you willing? D. Shirtion asked with a slightly probing tone. His inner world was his core, and it was inside the eye of heaven's punishment divine eye. If Juan was willing to enter it, it would mean that she really wanted to follow him, and there was no ulterior motive behind it. However, if she didn't want to enter, then things would not be as simple as they seemed. That's great. I was just about to tell Big Brother that your virtual illusory realm is nothing compared to mine. Once I devour it, I'll be Big Brother's domain. Tell Big Brother that I'm a Khanate supreme treasure. Juaner blinked and giggled. She didn't resist at all. All right, come into my inner world. When Sakura heard this, he no longer hesitated. No matter from which aspect, the virtual illusionary land in front of him did not show any hostility. Immediately, there was no more hesitation. Whoosh! A crack appeared between his eyebrows, and the heavenly punishment divine eye quickly opened. Following that, a purple gold divine light instantly shot out from the divine eye, charging straight towards the picture scroll that was hanging on the divine peak. The painting was completely covered by the divine light. Absorb! A powerful suction force erupted from the divine light and sucked the mirage illusion into the divine eye. The scroll didn't show any signs of resistance. Juan who was sitting on the scroll, was so happy that her eyes turned into crescent moons. However, even so, there was still an incomparably heavy feeling when he tried to absorb it. It was as if a mortal was moving an object that was almost beyond his capacity. Every inch he moved felt like he was moving a mountain. The true force of the Emperor's indestructible true force in his body was almost depleted. Rumble. When the entire Wuji dreamland moved in the illusionary realm, it was like a tsunami emitting a violent roar. Countless desires surged into the illusionary realm like a tide, as if wanting to keep it in the Wuji dreamland and not let it leave. However, since the virtual illusory realm didn't resist and the absorption force of the Eye of Heaven's punishment kept increasing, it didn't affect what was happening at all. TSK, what a powerful virtual illusory realm. If it wasn't for the fact that it didn't resist, the Eye of Heaven's punishment wouldn't have been able to absorb it at all. However, once it fuses, the Eye of Heaven's punishment will undergo an incredible transformation. This is a peerless opportunity, Dark exclaimed excitedly as he watched the virtual illusory realm fusing into the Eye of Heaven. Rumble. The art of Heaven's punishment kept circulating, and the true force of the Emperor's indestructible talisman kept pouring into the Eye of Heaven. It might only take a moment, or it might take a billion years. As soon as the virtual illusory realm entered the Eye of Heaven's punishment, she rushed into the void excitedly and swallowed the original virtual illusory realm without hesitation. Then, she replaced the fake virtual illusory realm and merged it into her inner world. The moment it merged with her inner world, the whole Heaven's punishment world and nether prison expanded at an incredible speed. The space barrier strengthened without limit. At the same time, strange images suddenly appeared in Di Shirtian's mind. His mind seemed to be pulled into a mysterious place in an instant. Chaos. Di Shirtian calmed himself down and looked around. He saw that he was in a chaotic world. Countless streams of chaotic energy were rolling, rising, falling, and then being born. It was full of terrible destructive power. Countless god fiends were born in the chaos. A large number of god fiends faced a large number of innate spirit treasures, various spirit roots, countless spiritual materials, and resources in the chaos world. Every day, there were fierce battles in the chaos world. Every day, god fiends died in the battle. Wisps of black smoke drifted out of the bodies of the fallen god fiends. These wisps of black smoke were extremely evil. This black gas seemed to be the source of evil as it constantly gathered. More and more of it gathered. Finally, when all the gods and devils had fallen, all the black gas had condensed into a terrifying black cloud. It drifted in the chaos world. The chaos world was great and full of miracles. As the black cloud drifted in the chaos world, a few cracks suddenly appeared in it. A wisp of purple spirit light shot out and crashed into the black cloud. Rumble. Suddenly, the black cloud seemed to have encountered some kind of inconceivable catalyst, and they began to change constantly. Inside the black clouds, scenes of countless gods and demons fighting each other appeared, as if they were fighting over something. It seemed to have been nurtured for countless years. The black cloud strangely condensed into a picture scroll. In the picture scroll, all kinds of evil things and scenes full of desire appeared. That evil was almost impossible to erode in the chaos world. It was exceptionally terrifying. There was another scroll. On the scroll, it was also filled with the charm of desire. It tore through the air and left. It broke away and flew to an unknown place. At some point, the picture scroll suddenly broke through the chaos world and appeared in a place full of vitality. Birds chirped and flowers bloomed. Flowers and plants formed a forest. There were all kinds of life forms everywhere, writing the praises of civilization. It was full of vitality. But at the same time, the world was filled with an almost endless amount of evil black smoke of the same origin. This made the picture scroll like a fish entering the water. It devoured the endless black smoke on the spot into the picture scroll. The picture scroll continued to grow at an astonishing speed in the endless black smoke. In the picture scroll, not only were there fights, but also all kinds of desires and scenes of desires flashed. It made the picture scroll even more complete. At the same time, as if things had reached an extreme, a picture spirit appeared in the picture scroll. This picture spirit did not seem to be affected by the evil. Instead, it could control the evil. It maintained a pure heart and cultivated day after day in the picture scroll. In the end, in that empty environment, an incomparably lonely emotion appeared. Every day, it looked at the rich and colorful lives of all living beings in the world and was filled with yearning. It longed for a powerhouse to bring it out. However, it tried to find a very powerful cultivator to come to its side. But not long after, it was immersed in desire and never woke up again. This let it know that ordinary cultivators could not come to its side. Therefore, it silently watched the common people. Suddenly, it discovered that some cultivators had begun to cultivate the same black smoke as it did. But before it could get excited, it saw that those cultivators who dared to touch the black smoke all died miserably. However, there were still cultivators who kept trying. But they failed time and time again. It made it so that it kept lingering in disappointment. In the end, it discovered that an ordinary demon had actually guided desire into its body and molded it into a demon vein. After that, it did not immediately become addicted. She began to pay attention to it silently. She looked forward to the day when she would leave. I see. She did not know when, but her whole mind seemed to have turned around in an instant. The whole virtual illusory land had been completely integrated into the heavenly punishment world. Shirtian's eyes revealed a look of realization. It turns out that only those who have cultivated the 7 desires can touch and integrate the virtual illusory land. In the world, only I have successfully cultivated the path of desire in the blink of an eye and integrated the 7 desires into 12. Only then can I withstand the virtual illusory land. The virtual illusory land, the destiny is destined to belong to me. What he saw just now was the process of the birth of the virtual illusory land. After witnessing it, the doubts in his heart disappeared instantly. However, it seems that the virtual illusory land was not the only thing that was born in the chaos. What was that scroll that flew away? Tion said thoughtfully. Chapter 1143. TSK. It must be a rare treasure to be born with the virtual illusory realm. It's a pity that it flew away. Otherwise, I might have gotten another divine object. However, the virtual illusory realm is also a great opportunity. Now, the divine eye of heaven's punishment has begun to derive the 6th innate divine restriction. This is a sign that it's becoming a mid-grade innate cardinal treasure. Ming said with some regret and excitement. He was in nether prison, so he could clearly sense that the moment the virtual illusory realm fused with him, his divine I was also transforming. This was the innate divine restriction of all evil. However, this speed of derivation and refinement was not instantaneous. It was continuous derivation and refinement. Even if he wanted to form a complete, innate divine restriction, it would take some time. Of course, this is going to be my home in the future, so I have to make it more beautiful and powerful. She pouted and looked at him, a crafty look flashing in her eyes. She pointed at his body, which was made of countless blades, and said softly, "You're Ming. You're the one who helps Big Brother manage Nether Prison." I've heard of you before. You're called the Warden. But before, Big Brother was first and I was second. You're the little brother, so you have to listen to me. His childish voice didn't seem to have much of a deterrent force. Ming was so angry that his nose was about to become crooked. Warden? Am I, Dark, an ordinary prison guard? Tui. What warden? I'm the warden. Huh? Isn't the warden a warden? Whatever. I can't let this little girl ride on my grandfather's head. Oof. Little girl, first come, first served. I'm the warden. Tui. No, I'm not the warden. Anyway, I'm in front of you, so you should listen to my orders. Ming shouted with bloodshot eyes. It didn't matter if she was a little girl or a big girl. She couldn't lose her place in Crazy Emperor's heart. You'll suffer if you don't listen. Huan blinked her little eyes, revealing a crescent-shaped light. All of a sudden, she seemed to have transformed from an innocent girl into a little devil with horns on her head. She twitched her nose and snorted. I'll send you to the virtual land to play first. As she spoke, she waved her little hand at Dark with great interest. Ming's expression changed drastically. He wanted to resist, but he discovered that even with his unparalleled strength, he was unable to resist at all. He was directly pulled into a mysterious space out of thin air. Little girl, quickly let me out. When Ming saw this, his expression changed. How could he not know that this was probably the virtual illusory realm? He cried out, Let me tell you, I'm mighty and unyielding. I'm not corrupted by wealth or poverty. You can't do anything to me. Really? Huaner chuckled in amusement. With a wave of his hand, countless illusions appeared and pulled Nether in. Huaner, remember not to go overboard. When Di Shirtian saw this, he did not interfere. He knew that Huan would not go overboard. After being alone in the limitless realm for so many years, it was not easy for her to escape. The playfulness that had been shackled in her body had completely erupted. This was not a big deal. Moreover, if she could comprehend something in the limitless realm and refine her heart, it would be a good thing for Ming. I know, big brother. Ming is very fun. Huaner giggled and agreed. Seeing that the virtual illusory realm had merged perfectly with him, Di Shirtian was relieved. However, the limitless realm did not collapse because of the disappearance of the virtual illusory realm. Instead, it continued to gather the limitless power of desire from heaven and earth into the limitless realm of desire. At the center of the divine peak, the limitless realm of desire continued to gather. Innumerable pitch-black desire power gathered in a frenzy. Innumerable pure, indestructible obsessions surged forth endlessly, wrapping the entire divine peak within it. Vaguely, one could see an incomparably illusory and exceptionally blurry pitch-black coffin flashing within the divine peak. Every time it flashed, it would wantonly devour a massive amount of desire power, interweaving into a mysterious Tao pattern. Sure enough, the limitless realm of desire is mysterious. It seems that the person who entered the virtual illusory realm back then was just an outsider. Even without the illusory realm, the limitless realm of desire would have given birth to a terrifying supreme treasure. Under Sakura's gaze, he muttered in his heart. He knew that the limitless realm of desire should have given birth to a supreme treasure when heaven and earth was born. Now that the limitless realm of desire had left, the limitless realm of desire began to give birth to a supreme treasure. It would probably take thousands or even tens of millions of years for it to truly take shape. Return to the demon court. Seeing that there was nothing else worth paying attention to, he calmly said to the 9 primordial dragons beneath him, "Rumble." The 9 primordial dragons did not hesitate at all. They quickly pulled the war chariot and flew back to the demon court, leaving behind a dazzling divine light in the limitless realm of desire. Not long after, they returned to the demon court. Although the demon court was in the limitless realm of desire, it was not affected at all. Countless desire power was continuously devoured into the ancient city, forming countless mysterious desire Tao patterns on the ancient city. Back to the demon court. Di Shirtian got down from the celestial emperor's war chariot. With a wave of his hand, an incomparably noble and supreme throne appeared naturally behind him. Di Shirtian sat on the throne. With a wave of his hand, 2 graceful and noble phoenix thrones appeared on both sides of him. Chun Shi, Katomi, Tian Xiang, and Mei Xian sat down respectively. Kong Wu stood upright at the side. Behind him, countless murderous blood-kill guards stood coldly behind him. The 18 blood-kill generals stood proudly at the front. A cold, murderous aura filled the entire demon court like a tide. Countless cultivators and demons widened their eyes as they watched the changes in the sky. War. This was the prelude to a great war. A great war was about to begin. The eyes of the demons burned with passion. The awakened demons were not afraid of war at all. Instead, they had an incomparable desire. My people of the demon race. Di Shirtian looked down majestically and said in a deep voice, "The demon court was about to leave the purple gold mainland, but we were once again provoked by the human race. Although we defeated the enemy, the previous matter is not over. Since when did the demon race have to suffer in silence? Today, I'll tell you that those who offend the demon race will be killed no matter how far away they are." Every word was like the sound of the heavens, striking the hearts of countless demon clan members, turning into seeds of indomitable will. This was the spirit of the demon race. Those who offend the demon race will be killed no matter how far away they are. Countless demons had fanatical expressions on their faces as they shouted crazily. What the demon race needed was a strong leader. Let's go to the God's Fall Abyss. Tion waved his hand. With a thought, the entire Ling Shao demon court shook violently. Suddenly, a huge crack appeared in the limitless realm. The entire ancient city drilled out of the crack. At the same time, it broke into the void. Then, it violently crashed into the unknown. In the God's Fall Abyss, countless cold auras of death filled every inch of the void. A large number of broken weapons were piled up and gathered in various areas. Every now and then, a large number of weapons would appear out of thin air and fall into the white bone abyss. The abyss was filled with terrifying mounds of weapons. It was filled with boundless killing intent. Almost no one was allowed to enter the abyss. There was no sign of life. Even if someone entered this place, they would feel a chill run down their spine. Rumble. At this moment, a huge crack appeared in the void of the abyss. In the crack, a vast divine city appeared out of thin air in the abyss. Majestic pressure rolled out in all directions like a tidal wave. Kill! 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 The pressure of the Ling Shao demon court spread out into the abyss without any concealment. The terrifying pressure caused the abyss, which seemed to be dead silent, to shake with a loud rumble. A series of murderous cries were heard as if they were coming from an ancient time. Clang! 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 Although they did not have any weapons in their hands, every part of their bodies was a weapon for killing. They were real dark rank soldier souls. There were even soldier souls that held weapons in their hands. The killing intent on their bodies was even more intense. They were real Earth-rank soldier souls. Hundreds of Earth-rank soldier souls charged out of the abyss coldly. Roar! In the sky above the abyss, countless dark clouds gathered and twisted the void. A blood dove that stretched for an unknown number of miles appeared. It was incomparably cold, and its wings covered an unknown number of miles. Each of its blood-colored wings was a terrifying divine weapon. It was brewing an endless killing intent. Kill! The pressure that the blood dove emitted was obviously a heaven-ranked soldier soul. It was the top existence among the soldier souls. Seeing the demon court, it obviously took it as a blatant provocation. It flapped its wings and shouted coldly. Kill! 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 The soldier souls that blotted out the sky rushed toward the demon court like a tidal wave. Each of them was at least a dark-ranked soldier soul. These soldier souls killed for the sake of killing. Their combat strength was often enough to challenge those above their level. They were enough to kill an ancient demon saint. As for the earth rank, even an ancient demon saint would be defeated. As for the heaven rank, even an ordinary peerless expert would be defeated. At this moment, the soldier souls swarmed over. Their murderous aura dyed the void red. It was as if they were in an ancient battlefield, in the midst of the apocalypse. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1144. Those who have tickets, please help me up. I'll throw in a few recommendation tickets. The murderous aura and murderous intent penetrated one's spiritual soul directly, bringing with it an eerie aura. Some cultivators with weak willpower would collapse on the spot under such a murderous aura. Good timing. Tion sat on the throne without fear. Between his brows, the heavenly punishment divine eye opened, and the vast imperial indestructible true force surged into the divine eye like a tide. Whoosh! A purple gold divine light that was filled with an unparalleled power shot out and swept towards the soldier souls that were swarming over with boundless majesty. Heavenly punishment divine eye soul catcher. The soul catcher divine light covered hundreds of thousands of miles in an instant. In the divine light, there was an irresistible, majestic power that one's spiritual soul could not resist. It was like facing the might of the heavens. It was extremely terrifying. Everywhere it passed, one could see soldier souls. The profound, great soldier souls did not even have the power to resist and were swept away. The earthly grade soldier souls, although they had the power to resist, could not resist the soul-catcher divine light at all. Wherever the divine light went, large swathes of soldier souls would be instantly wiped clean as if they were harvesting rice paddies. Before they could even reach the front of the demon court, they were all swept away. At the same time, with vast divine power, they swept towards the blood dove at lightning speed. Howl! When the blood dove saw that all the soldier souls around it had been swept away, its cold eyes revealed a look of vigilance. Its left wing slashed towards the divine light like a terrifying blade. The feathers turned into blood-red divine weapons. With incredible power, they crushed the surrounding void into powder. The feathers shot out tens of thousands of feet of divine light. Rumble. The blood dove wanted to shatter the soul-catcher divine light. The blood dove was a soldier soul, and its attack was extremely destructive to one's spiritual soul. The soul-catcher divine light could absorb souls, so the blood dove's attack was also extremely effective against the divine light. Suddenly, the soul-catcher divine light was like a heavenly divine sword that clashed violently with the blood-red feathers. The divine light was trembling violently. Countless tiny chains quickly spread out from the divine light and bound the wings, but they were crushed by the feathers of the wings. However, how could the soul-absorbing divine light be so simple when unleashed by Di-Shirtion? The divine light instantly became incomparably illusory, as if it was nothing. Through the wings, he swiped at Blood Dove. Crash! Countless tough chains immediately covered the Blood Dove's body, binding it tightly. The Blood Dove was enraged. It flapped its countless wings and shattered a large number of chains. However, more chains immediately came binded. An inconceivable force pulled the Blood Dove into the divine eye. Kill! 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 The Blood Dove kept roaring. Although its fighting strength was unparalleled, it was still inferior to Di-Shirtion, who had reached the half-step sovereign rank. Although it kept resisting, it was still pulled into the infernal prison. 100 generations slave seal. Di-Shirtion uttered with a strange majesty. His voice carried the supreme emperor's might, as if he was giving an inconceivable order to heaven and earth. Rumble. In the infernal prison, all the soldier souls that were sucked into the infernal prison saw a mysterious ball suddenly explode in the void. Countless mysterious runes shot out with supreme majesty and imprinted on the forehead of each soldier soul. When the runes were imprinted, the soldier souls that were originally filled with murderous intent quieted down. Inexplicably, a trace of Di-Shirtion's aura appeared on their bodies. Even the blood dove could not resist the imprint and was imprinted on its body. Forge Pavilion, where are the terracotta soldiers? Di-Shirtion quickly finished all these and calmly uttered a sentence. Terracotta soldiers, in formation. In the Forge Pavilion, there was a rumble. Below the Forge Pavilion, a cave cracked open like a tomb. Countless dazzling divine light shone on the large empty area in front of it. Rumble, rumble. Wherever the divine light shone, one could see burly and iron-blooded war bodies lined up in neat rows, standing coldly in the middle of the training ground. A chilling pressure rolled out in all directions like a tidal wave. It was so densely packed that it made one's scalp tingle. Soldier souls, enter the body. Blood-killing guards, return to your positions. Rumble. Above the countless terracotta soldiers, the illusion of the infernal prison appeared. In an instant, the soldiers' souls drew out divine light and fell into the bodies of each terracotta soldier. At the same time, the terracotta soldier's armor began to transform into a terrifying blood-red color at an inconceivable speed. Streaks of blood-red, murderous intent broke through the air like smoke signals and soared into the sky. On their foreheads, there was a blood-red vertical line, which was a powerful divine power that they had inherited from Di-Shirtion. Among them, one of the terracotta soldiers instantly expanded after being imprinted with the soldier's soul. At a speed visible to the naked eye, it reached a height of 10,000 feet and immediately turned into a blood-red blood dove. It hovered in the air for a while and then turned back into a soldier's body. Blood Dove greets Master. This tyrannical blood-killing guard carried boundless pressure. The surrounding blood-killing guards did not dare to stand side by side with it and followed behind it. It indifferently knelt down on one knee and bowed to Di-Shir-Tion. Behind it, a large number of blood-killing guards knelt together. Good. When Di-Shir-Tion saw Blood Dove kowtow, his face became more dignified. He nodded and said, "Blood Dove, as a heaven-grade soldier's soul, now that you have a body, your combat power is invincible. Today, I confer you as one of the 6 royals, the blood-killing emperor. You will be in charge of the blood-killing guards. Take up the position immediately." This sentence directly made Blood Dove reach the sky in one step. The identity of the 6 royals could be said to be extremely prominent in the demon court. It was not without reason that such a noble position was conferred so easily. The blood-killing guards could be said to be the most terrifying killing weapons in the world. Moreover, all of them were connected by the lifetime slave seal. With the lifetime slave seal, the blood-killing guards were the most loyal imperial guards in the world to Di-Shir-Tion. They would never betray him. The combat power of this blood-killing guard could be said to be the strongest in the demon court. For such a legion, he would definitely not be stingy with a mere title. Blood Dove's existence had great wisdom and was the best person to control this legion. "Thank you, Your Majesty." When Blood Dove became a blood-killing guard, he also understood many things and naturally knew how noble the title of blood-killing emperor was. His resistance to Di-Shir-Tion dissipated in an instant. "Prepare for war." Di-Shir-Tion nodded and ordered. "Yes, Your Majesty." Blood Dove replied loudly, but his voice was still as cold as before. The original 100,000 blood-killing guards and the newly born blood-killing guards did not have any difficulties under Blood Dove's command. They quickly organized into an army and lined up neatly. Moreover, the number of blood-killing guards and their situation were completely sorted out. Among them, only the current blood-killing emperor was at the level of the blood-killing emperor, Blood Dove. Under the blood-killing emperor, there were a total of 1,000 blood-killing generals. Each of them was full of the aura of a general. The number of blood-killing guards at the bottom increased exponentially, reaching a total of 10 million. It just so happened that one blood-killing general was in charge of 10,000 blood-killing guards. All the blood-killing guards were arranged in square formations. They stood in the void of the demon court. They were vast and mighty. They were like heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals. Those who offend the demon clan will be killed no matter how far they are. Today, we will make you humans pay the price. Di-Shir-Tion waved his hand, and the demon court shook with a bang. A crack appeared, and they directly broke through the void from the god-perishing abyss and traveled out. In the blink of an eye, they crossed over to the purple gold continent. When they appeared, they happened to be in the territory of the human clan. Although it was only after they appeared, they immediately broke through the space again and traveled out. However, the existence of the demon court attracted the attention of countless cultivators on the spot. There was even a burst of discussion. "Oh my God, the demon court. That was the demon court just now. Why did this supreme divine artifact come here?" It was indeed terrifying. Facing it, I felt my heart tremble. It was as if it could crush me into dust. Now, the cultivators of the various races have spread the news that a mighty figure of the human clan used one of the 10 great divine artifacts, the star map of the heavenly cycle, to find trouble with the demon court. However, he didn't expect to kick an iron plate. Not only did he not suppress the demon clan, but he was also hunted down by the demon court. I heard that many places have seen the demon court chasing after the star map. Terrifying. This demon court is too terrifying. Even the star map of the heavenly cycle couldn't contend against it. Could it have become an immortal divine artifact? That would be a disaster for the human clan. My God, could it be that the people who just appeared in the demon court are the legendary demon emperor, demon empress, and demon concubine, as well as the most terrifying killing weapons in the legends, the blood-killing guards? They cover the sky and earth. How could there be so many of them? Not good. Just now I saw the space that the demon court cut open. It seems to be heading towards the heaven realm. That murderous look. Could it be that they plan to enter the heaven realm and start a massacre, starting a war with the human clan? Oh my God, something bad is going to happen. Something big is going to happen this time. Countless cultivators began to discuss, especially the scene of the demon court chasing after the star map. It was as if they were going to heaven and earth, and the battle was extremely intense. It couldn't be hidden from other cultivators at all. When the news spread, almost no cultivator on the purple gold continent didn't know about it. Many cultivators of the various races were secretly laughing at it. But now, it was obvious that they were going to start a massacre and take revenge. If the demon clan really fought with the human clan, the consequences would be unimaginable. It would shock the entire world. For a time, countless teleportation talismans were crazily sent out in all directions. All kinds of news spread quickly. And at this moment, in the heaven realm, the originally calm void suddenly trembled violently and distorted. With a loud rumble, a monstrous pressure crazily crushed in all directions like a tide. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1145. The Ling Xiao Demon Court didn't try to hide their chi at all. It was as if many peerless masters were descending upon the world. The entire world seemed to be on the verge of destruction. Everywhere they went, countless creatures were forced to kneel on the ground. Countless immortal birds and beasts were forced to kneel on the ground in awe. Countless cultivators were forced to lie on the ground. The heaven realm was vast and boundless. It was a unique world that the human tribe had created by stealing a piece of land from the purple gold continent. Together with the chaos fragments, the source of the world, the source of life, the source of the five elements, and the spring of yin and yang, it was much more powerful and mysterious than the other realms. Although it couldn't be compared to the purple gold continent, it was the true headquarters of a human tribe. Countless living beings, countless elites. Almost all of them were born as cultivators. They were extremely powerful. It was the supreme holy land of the human race. The 9 great imperial empires of the human race. No, the Wanshou Imperial Empire should be called the 8 great imperial empires now. Among them, 4 of them were in the heaven realm. In each ancient city, there were no mortals. All of them were cultivators. Each of them was an immortal city. In each immortal city, there were countless intricate formations and restrictions protecting it. The demon court was now the everlasting emperor dynasty of the 4 great imperial empires. The ruler of the emperor dynasty was called the everlasting emperor. He occupied a vast territory and had countless citizens. Boom, boom, boom. One by one, the immortal cities fell from the sky and landed on the ground, causing the ground to tremble. All kinds of divine light flashed in the immortal cities like tidewater, forming barriers that quickly covered and protected the ancient cities. However, countless terrified faces could still be seen. Quick, quick, quick! He activated the great defensive formation and all the restrictions. All the cultivators quickly infused their dermic powers into the ancient city's restrictions. Send a signal to inform the imperial court that someone is about to offend the everlasting emperor dynasty. No, that's the demon court. One cultivator after another shrieked like a duck. Demon court, it's the demon court. Could it be that the demon race wants to start a war with the human race? Not good. Something big is going to happen. I heard that the human race's almighty seniors went to look for trouble with the demon emperor, but were chased by the demon emperor through countless worlds. Could it be that they're coming back for revenge? It's over. Once they fight, the heaven realm will be destroyed. Bloodkill guards, that's the bloodkill guards. Why aren't there 100,000 of them? How many are there? Hundreds of thousands? Or millions of years? No, it's tens of millions. Such a huge number of bloodkill guards. Could this be the hidden trump card of the demon sovereign? This time, I'm afraid I've really angered the demon emperor. What's there to be afraid of? Our human race has countless cultivators and countless experts. We're not afraid of the demon race at all. If the demon race comes, we'll slaughter them all. Our human race is the main character of this world, and he was the eternal protagonist. Who cares about the demons? Kill, kill, kill. The mighty figures of our human race will definitely kill the Shifter Emperor. Countless human cultivators were filled with fear, shock, and confidence. All kinds of discussions resounded throughout the entire heaven realm in an instant. Lock onto the Star Mountain range and kill. Tion glanced at the heaven realm and sneered. The human race had indeed occupied more than half of the resources of the entire purple gold continent. They had actually built the heaven realm to be thousands of times stronger than the other realms. However, he was not here to visit today. He was here to start a massacre. Rumble. The ultimate Emperor Jade archive was absorbing a huge amount of chaotic chi from the primal chaos at a constant speed, pouring it into the entire ancient city. The lightning congregating towers, in particular, were continuously replenished without any pause, constantly maintaining the lightning congregating towers in the most abundant and powerful state. Under Tian's order, there was no longer any hesitation. Countless purple heaven thunder guards put down everything and controlled the lightning-gathering towers to launch the most powerful attacks on the countless immortal cities below. Divine thunder of different types was like raindrops covering the sky and earth. They were densely packed and crazily smashed into the many immortal cities near the demon court. Rumble. Countless divine thunder smashed into the formations and restrictions of the immortal cities like raindrops. Those restrictions and formations were constantly distorted. Rumbling sounds could be heard, and there were faint signs that they were about to collapse. However, the countless cultivators in the cities did not just stand by and watch. All kinds of Dharma treasures collided with the divine thunder. A large number of Dharma spells and divine powers were smashed out like raindrops. However, under the full force of the demon court, almost half of these attacks and Dharma treasures were smashed into pieces and annihilated in the divine thunder. The forbidding auras only lasted for a brief moment before they were forcefully shattered. They fell into the immortal cities. Countless screams were heard one after another. Every divine thunder blasted a large number of cultivators into pieces. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, causing great destructive power. Countless human cultivators died tragically on the spot. Rumble. The demon court did not stop at all. It pulled out a dazzling divine light toward the Star Mountain range and tore through the sky at an astonishing speed. Wherever it passed, large amounts of ruins kept emerging. Countless cultivators were slaughtered. The Star Mountain range. It was the location of the Star Hall, one of the top 10 immortal sects. This mountain range was not on the ground. Instead, it was formed by many mountains that were suspended in the air. Each mountain was a divine mountain that was refined from the essence of the stars. There were a total of 365 mountains that were formed by the means of the heavenly cycle star formation. It was as strong as a tortoise. There were a large number of disciples and countless servants living on each mountain peak. At every moment, it was absorbing the power of the stars. It was very magical. In the middle stood a mysterious palace. Countless stars revolved around the palace. At this moment, a disciple in star robes rushed into the palace from outside with a panicked expression. As he ran, he shouted, "Sect Master, it's not good. The Demon Emperor is leading the demon court to kill our Star Mountain range. Along the way, countless immortal cities have been destroyed by the Demon Emperor without mercy. Hurry, hurry, the Demon Emperor is about to kill us." That voice was unusually sharp, like an old pimp in a brothel. Making a ruckus in the Stellar Hall, "Where is your manners?" In the Star Hall, a middle-aged man in a noble star robe shouted with a dignified face, "All disciples of the Star Hall, listen to my order. Inject your power into the Star Mountain and activate the heavenly cycle star formation. Fight to the death with the demon clan. Fight to the death. Fight to the death." Countless disciples of the Star Hall let out a thunderous roar. Boom, boom, boom. The star mountains kept flashing with the divine light of the stars. They kept vibrating and emitting a mysterious connection. They merged perfectly with each other and followed a mysterious trajectory, operating quickly. In an instant, all the mountains disappeared. The surroundings turned into a vast starry sky. The starry sky was completely isolated from the world, forming a strong barrier. Endless power of the stars poured in from the outside world. Rumble. Just as the entire Star Mountain range turned into a starry sky, the boundless and murderous demon court soared from afar at an astonishing speed. Along the way, countless cultivators fell under the demon court's hands. Dishurtian's expression did not change at all. He sat on the throne and looked at the starry sky before him. He shouted coldly, "Starhall, you dare to attack me with the heavenly cycle star map. You have the intention to provoke me. Today, I will turn your Starhall into dust. Lightning-gathering towers, prepare to beat me up." Dishurtian's voice was filled with cold, murderous intent. Beat. Not only did he want to beat them up, but he wanted to show the might of the demon court. He wanted to beat the hearts of the humans. I don't care who is in charge of the star map. Since it is your Starhall's supreme divine artifact, then this debt will be on your Starhall. If I can't find a star map, I will destroy the Starhall. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, the 296 billion lightning-gathering towers were surrounded by countless lightning bolts at the same time. The iron blood lightning cannons aimed at the vast starry sky before them. They exuded a destructive aura. Demon Emperor, how dare you? This is the Starhall, one of the top 10 immortal sects of the human race. If you dare to attack us, you will be provoking the entire human race. At that time, you will be dead. The human race will mobilize countless powerful figures to beat you to dust. Even your demon race will be completely annihilated. If you retreat now, there is still room for negotiation. The starry sky tumbled. The Starhall sect master condensed his figure and scolded Dishurtian. Bang! Sakura didn't hesitate and directly stretched out his right hand. Stretching out a finger, he directly poked towards that condensed figure. Wherever it passed, the starry sky shook violently and a terrifying crack was poked open. No power could stop it. It turned into dust under the finger. The finger poked directly at the figure. The figure did not have the slightest resistance and was directly shattered by the finger. It exploded into billions of pieces. Noisy, Dishurtian spat out coldly. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, the Iron Blood Divine Cannon was fully activated. Bolts of great destruction divine thunder blasted into the massive heavenly cycle-stellar array. On the spot, countless stars were destroyed. Countless bolts of divine lightning followed. In an instant, a terrifying destructive disaster erupted. In a massive heavenly cycle-stellar formation, countless disciples were killed. Their bodies were blasted into pieces like bombs. Although the massive heavenly cycle-stellar formation was powerful, each of the Iron Blood Divine Cannons was equivalent to a peerless almighty. There were a total of 129,600 cannons. When fired together, no matter how powerful the formation was, it would be riddled with holes. The formation was about to be destroyed on the spot. Demon Emperor, how dare you? At that moment, a furious roar came from the void. The void distorted. A huge green lotus broke through the void. From the direction of the Starhall, a vast star map rose into the sky. His berating voice was filled with boundless anger. It swept towards the demon court at an astonishing speed. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1146. The war is about to begin. Please vote. Brothers with votes, please vote. What kind of place was the Heaven Realm? It was the base camp of the human clan. It contained countless foundations of the human clan and had countless experts. At this moment, Dishurtian had rushed into the Heaven Realm with the demon court and was killing in all directions. He had destroyed countless immortal cities and killed countless cultivators. Moreover, He had charged all the way to the Star Hall, one of the 10 great immortal sects of the human clan. This was simply a slap in the face of the human clan. The slap was extremely loud and clear. At this moment, countless cultivators from the various heavens and clans were secretly watching the bloody battle between the demon clan and the human clan. It could be expected that the scene from before had been spread to various regions by countless cultivators from the various heavens. Almost all of the human clan's face had been lost. However, it also shocked the upper echelons of the human clan. A large number of experts were mobilized on the spot. They rushed over from all directions. The supreme divine artifacts were revealed without the slightest bit of concealment. Demon Emperor, you damned monster, how dare you rush into the heaven realm? You must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall. If I don't make you stay today, where will the human clan put their face? Kill. 10,000 green lotus swords, green lotus sword chi, cut through the void. In the vast divine light, the void shook violently. A huge green lotus that was hundreds of thousands of feet tall appeared. On the green lotus, countless sword chi flashed continuously. On the surface of the green lotus, it condensed into lifelike petals. Layer after layer, as the green lotus rotated, they were constantly disappearing. Each lotus seemed to be formed by countless battle swords, constantly devouring the surrounding heaven and earth origin chi. It gave birth to endless sword chi. 10,000 green lotus swords, one of the 10 great supreme divine artifacts. The 10,000 green lotus swords descended with boundless fury. As soon as the 10,000 green lotus swords appeared, it did not hesitate at all and began to spin. One round after another, the lotus flowers formed by countless green lotus sword chi bloomed one by one. It was like the purest and most beautiful immortal flower in the world. Countless petals fell one by one and drifted down. They quickly scattered in all directions like snowflakes. Those gorgeous and fantastical petals were like dancing fairies. In the blink of an eye, they filled the entire sky. Those petals didn't dissipate. Instead, they quickly gathered above the green lotus and condensed into a green lotus battle sword. Countless green lotuses appeared on the battle sword. Countless mysterious green lotuses appeared on the battle sword. Faintly, a mysterious green lotus sword song reverberated from the battle sword. A terrifying pressure that could destroy heaven and earth rolled toward the demon court like a tidal wave. Crack! The gigantic sword, which was millions of feet long, slashed down at the demon court. It was like the judgment battle sword in the hands of the heavenly god was about to split the demon court in half. Its power was comparable to that of a half-step sovereign. Under the battle sword, everything would be destroyed like dry weeds and rotten wood. Bang, bang, bang. On top of the lightning-gathering tower, the iron-blood divine cannons pointed their muzzles at the battle sword. It spewed out destructive lightning. Bolts of divine lightning filled with the power of great destruction struck the battle sword heavily. There were hundreds of thousands of bolts. The void was violently shattered. Countless bolts of lightning were shattered by the sword. However, each bolt of lightning continued to bombard the sword light on the battle sword, causing it to scatter and dim. The collision was extremely intense. In the blink of an eye, the battle sword was shattered into thousands of pieces by the lightning cannons. Bang, bang, bang. The 129,600 iron blood divine cannons didn't stop for a moment. After shattering the battle sword, they bombarded the 1,000 green lotus sword. The 1,000 green lotus sword was also quite terrifying. Countless cultivators were praying inside. Countless lotus flowers were rapidly disappearing on the surface of the green lotus sword, colliding with the bolts of great destruction. Those lotuses were all shattered by the bombardment. However, after they were shattered, new petals began to sprout from them and continuously blocked the cannon light. Boom, boom, boom. Even so, the 1,000 green lotus sword was still forced back by the bombardment. Heavenly Cycle Star Chart, Star Generals, attack the demon court. For directions, constellation formation. Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, White Tiger, Black Tortoise. Kill, kill, kill. The heavenly cycle star chart quickly unfolded and instantly covered the entire void. The 9 supreme experts inside roared crazily. Previously, when they were chased by Sakura to the heavens and the earth, they had almost lost all their face. This time, when they entered the heaven realm to gather, they completely bared their fangs. If they didn't destroy the demon court, they wouldn't be able to get rid of the resentment in their hearts. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, the heavenly cycle star chart continued to evolve. Countless generals covered in the divine light of the stars whistled out and attacked the demon court. They even formed the constellation formation. Roar, roar, roar. A green dragon covered in starlight revealed its ferocious dragon claws. A white tiger revealed its fierce, murderous intent. Countless white tiger sword chi blasted toward the demon court. The black tortoise spewed out black water. The vermilion bird's divine flames swept over like a tide. Each of them almost erupted with the terrifying power of a half-step sovereign. Blood kill guards, listen to my command. Target the star chart, divine light of annihilation. Seeing the 2 supreme divine artifacts attacking, Blood Dove didn't panic. He shouted. Immediately, as soon as he finished speaking, the 10 million blood kill guards opened the blood-red divine eye between their brows and bombarded the divine generals and the 4 directions constellation formation. Swish, swish, swish. The annihilation divine light was a terrifying spell that was almost born for destruction. It was almost naturally suitable for the blood-killing guards. At this moment, they used it at the same time. Immediately, 10 million beams of blood-red divine light bombarded the star map, full of incredible destructive power. It was almost unstoppable. No power could stop it. Boom, boom, boom. Countless star generals were drowned in the divine light of annihilation on the spot. They were bombarded into powder. They directly pierced countless holes through the 4 directions constellation formation. They were crushed into pieces. It was extremely terrifying. The Iron Blood divine cannon continued to fire at the 2 divine weapons. For a moment, the battle was incomparably fierce. From the beginning, the battle had entered a white-hot state. Each of the Green Lotus sword chi that spewed out from the 1,000 Green Lotus sword could kill a peerless expert. They were densely packed and bombarded the demon court. However, they were blocked by the 4 directions heavenly gates. They were directly shaken and scattered in large areas. For a moment, the battle was incomparably fierce. Terrifying cracks appeared in the void all around. It kept collapsing. The earth collapsed under the attack, forming countless abysses. Mountains collapsed. Mountains and rivers broke. Wherever they went, any attack could kill a peerless expert. The battle was so intense that it almost reached its peak. Under the attack of the 2 supreme divine artifacts, the demon court was not at a disadvantage at all. It charged left and right and fought crazily with the star chart and the 1,000 Green Lotus sword. This scene made the people who were secretly spying on them so shocked that they had the urge to escape. Oh my God, it's terrifying, too terrifying. I thought that the Demon Emperor would bring the soaring heaven demon court to the heaven realm and give the human clan a big gift, even paying with his life. I didn't expect the Demon Emperor and the soaring heaven demon court to be so powerful and terrifying. They can fight on par with the 2 supreme divine artifacts. Could it be that the demon court is about to become an immortal artifact? The Demon Emperor is indeed not to be trifled with. The human clan had just gone to stroke the tiger's whiskers, and the Demon Emperor immediately led a group of demons into the human clan's lair. This personality is simply not to be trifled with. No wonder they say that a tiger's but can't be touched. It's simply too terrifying. The human clan has completely lost their face this time. This time, there's really no way to end it. This situation is already too big. I'm afraid that if the battle continues, it will become even bigger and attract even more human experts. If the Demon Emperor continues to fight, I'm afraid that even escaping will be a big problem. Could it be that this is really the Demon Clan's swan song? Oh no, look, another supreme divine artifact is coming. This time, the Demon Court might not be able to withstand it. I don't know if the four directions heavenly gates are really as powerful as the legends say. Countless heavenly cultivators quickly discussed in secret. They also felt that Shurtian situation was quite dangerous. It could be said that this was an act of courting death. Right at this moment, a huge dark yellow treasure box tore through the air and flew over. On the treasure box, there were countless mysterious runes and runes. Inside the box, countless divine souls were constantly praying to each other. This was not an ordinary treasure box. It was an incredible sword box. It was the authentic supreme divine artifact of Xuanxin, the Xiantian treasure box. Xuanxin is supreme. Demon Emperor, you monster! How dare you provoke the human clan like this? Today, I'll let you know that there's no place in the world where you can be so arrogant. Xiantian 9, Swords plus Whirlwind Cloud Sword. The vast and boundless sword box flashed with bright divine light, and countless souls were constantly praying. Clang! The crisp sound of a sword reverberated through the void. A sky-piercing cyan sword broke out of the sword sheath. As soon as the sword appeared, a terrifying tornado swept out in all directions. The battle sword was completely formed from countless clouds and tornadoes. The void around the battle sword was rapidly twisting and shattering into millions of pieces as the tornadoes moved. Everywhere it went, it was as terrifying as a whirlwind. It erupted with terrifying sword pressure comparable to that of a half-step ruler. Rumble. It slashed down heavily at the demon court. Bang, bang, bang. Countless bolts of great destruction lightning continued to bombard the battle sword, but they were constantly twisted by the terrifying hurricanes. They continued to be worn down, bursting with terrifying power. Although their power was worn down, they still continued to slash at the demon court. Bang! The battle sword slashed at the southern heavenly gates. Rumble! The demon court shook violently. Boundless divine radiance erupted from his body. The Imperial Jade Archive absorbed a huge amount of heaven and earth yuan qi at an unbelievable speed. It erupted with monstrous divine power and shook the battle sword. However, the ancient city also fell several hundred feet. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1147. Damn it, damn it, damn it. The human race is so shameless. Every supreme artifact has 9 supreme experts guarding it, allowing them to unleash the supreme artifact's power to the limit. This is especially true for the supreme artifact at the peak of supreme artifact. Under their full power, every attack has the terrifying destructive power of a half-step sovereign. This time, the human race really wants to fight to the death with you, Madman D. Dark yelled angrily. Supreme Artifact was refined by all heaven's cultivators to contend against almighty experts. Once refined, even a low-grade Supreme Artifact could contend against an almighty expert. A mid-grade Supreme Artifact could not be broken without 3 or 4 almighty experts. A high-grade Supreme Artifact could not be destroyed without the continuous bombardment of a dozen almighty experts or the attack of a Supreme Artifact. As for a true peak Supreme Artifact, even an almighty expert would find it difficult to destroy it. Moreover, with the strength of an almighty expert, as long as they could fully unleash the power of a divine artifact, they could unleash the power of a half-step sovereign. This was the strength of a supreme artifact. In the past, the supreme divine weapons that Sakura faced were all divine weapons that didn't have a peerless expert overseeing them. That was why he was always free and unfettered. At that time, the divine weapons simply didn't display the tyrannical power that belonged to divine weapons. At this moment, the humans were clearly enraged. Every supreme artifact had 9 almighty experts guarding it. They could fully unleash the power of the divine artifact, and every strike could split the chaos. Umph! How dare you? With us, 4 heavenly kings here, who dares to be impudent? Boom! 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 The entire demon court was slashed down by the black sky treasure box and fell down several hundred feet. This immediately enraged the 4 heavenly kings guarding the 4 heavenly gates. For thunderous roars were heard as 4 towering figures rose from the ground. They were clad in battle armor, and their faces were full of majesty as they glared at the 4 directions. The eastern heavenly king held a strange green umbrella in his hand. The north heavenly king held a 9-story black tortoise sky-suppressing pagoda. The west heavenly king held a strange golden banner, and the south heavenly king held an ancient seal. The 4 heavenly kings' auras were awakened, and they burst out with an almighty aura comparable to an almighty expert. East Heaven's Gate suppressed the dance of the azure dragon. The eastern sky king said coldly. Suddenly, an illusory image of the eastern heaven's gate formed above the eastern heaven's gate and pressed down on the celestial cycle star chart in the east. It was hundreds of thousands of feet in size. Everywhere it went, the heaven and earth yuan chi in the east seemed to be completely frozen in an instant. Roar! Numerous azure dragons that were hundreds of thousands of feet long spewed out from the east heaven's gate. They intertwined and intertwined, forming a pair of azure dragon scissors that cut toward the heavenly star map in a domineering manner. The space that was cut by the scissors was sharply cut in half. It was so overwhelming that it seemed like it was going to cut the heavenly star map into pieces. However, the heavenly star map formed 4 constellations that swept toward the azure dragon scissors in a frenzy. There are also a large number of star generals. But when the scissors cut down, a large number of those star generals were cut in half. North Heaven's Gate suppress the north and seal the heavens and earth. The North Heavenly King also roared. Coincidentally, the 1,000-sword green lotus in the north spewed out billions of green lotus sword chi and slashed toward the demon court. Every sword light was extremely terrifying. However, the North Heaven's Gate formed an illusory East Heaven's Gate that was hundreds of thousands of feet long and pressed toward the north. Waves of white cold air spewed out like a tide. The void was frozen in the blink of an eye. Countless sword chi were frozen, and the void turned into an ice domain. No one knew how thick it was, but there were still sword chi that cut the ice crystals into pieces. But with the North Heaven's Gate, the green lotus sword chi could not even break through. South Heaven's Gate suppressed the south and burned the 9 heavens. The South Sky King looked at the Xiantian treasure box and shouted coldly. The shadow of the gate of heaven condensed and pressed down towards the south. From the gate of heaven, terrifying fiery birds swarmed out like tidal waves, bringing with them a mighty power that could burn the heavens and the earth. Everywhere they went, the void was burned into ashes. It was unusually domineering and had the power to burn the sky and destroy the world. Rumble! Countless firebirds. Wherever they went, the ground turned into boiling lava. The earth was burned. Xiantian treasure box, black ice flame sword. Endless divine light shot out from the Xiantian treasure box, and another battle sword flew out. The battle sword was extremely huge and pierced through the sky. However, one side of the sword was crimson red and exuded endless heat, while the other side was icy blue and exuded a terrifying black ice power. The 2 opposing forces converged together. Every collision produced an unimaginable destructive power. The sword slashed down. It was locked in a stalemate with the South Heaven's Gate. This scene left the countless spectators dumbfounded. The 4 cardinal heavenly gates are indeed extremely powerful. Each of the heavenly gates is a top-tier connate spiritual treasure. They have such powerful offensive power. The cold air that they spit out can freeze the world. The azure dragons can even cut mighty figures to death. The flames that they spit out can almost burn the world and destroy everything. 1 against 3. He's not at a disadvantage at all. The demon court of Lingxiao is so strong that it's hard to estimate. 1 man can hold the pass against 10,000. The cultivators screamed in astonishment. They all ran away. If they were involved in the battle, they would be crushed immediately. Rumble. At this moment, a vast god artifact suddenly appeared in the sky above the Lingxiao demon court without any warning. It faced the demon court in an extremely domineering manner, suppressing the demon court. With a terrifying roar, the illusory images of the four heavenly gates were crushed into pieces. It pressed down on the demon court like crushing dry weeds. The demon court shot out billions of rays of nine-color divine light, and the entire ancient city fell thousands of feet. However, a vast power also erupted from the city and pulled the divine artifact out. Oh my God, the head of the 10 supreme divine artifacts, the eternal kingdom. A cultivator saw it and opened his mouth wide in shock. It cannot be closed for a long time. The eternal kingdom suppresses the heavens. It is eternal and immortal. Suppress, suppress, suppress. In the void, a strange force was staring at it. It was as if the entire time had stopped in an instant, and eternity had been achieved in an instant. A voice that shook all worlds reverberated in the void. As the voice echoed, billions of rays of divine light poured down like a tide. Then, all kinds of mysterious prayers spread along with the divine light. There were figures of gods, demons, Buddhas, and immortals that seemed to be illusory, but also seemed to be real, flying freely in the divine light. On their faces, there was a kind of great freedom and transcendent beauty. It was as if there were no worries. There was only eternal joy and endless beauty. All the bad things had disappeared. The prayers came from their mouths, making the surrounding aura seem incomparably solemn and dense. Sacredness could not be profaned. Endless power of faith poured into the eternal kingdom. It was a disk that looked like a flying saucer. It was incomparably huge. Outside the eternal kingdom, rings of divine light kept circling around it. There were a total of 9 rings. In each ring, there were countless gods and Buddhas praying. Each ring was like an eternal river of time. Good, good, good. Seeing this, Sakura sneered and said, "Even the eternal country is here. Very good. Today, if this emperor doesn't turn your heavenly realm upside down, this emperor's head will be directly taken down for you to kick like a ball." Seeing the arrival of the eternal kingdom, not only did he not feel fear, but it also aroused a monstrous desire to fight. He looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. Heaven's will is like a blade. Time is like a blade. Eternal will turns into an immortal blade. Eternal blade, kill, kill, kill. A cold voice reverberated in eternal kingdom. Suddenly, illusory battle blades condensed out of thin air in the 9 divine rings. There seemed to be a river of time flowing in each of the battle blades. Each slash seemed to contain the will of the heavens, the will of the heavens. Everywhere the slashes passed by, the sky kept collapsing. It was as if time was passing by. 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 Time was strangely frozen under the blades. The operation of all things stopped at this moment. Bang, bang, bang. In the demon court, countless iron blood divine cannons roared madly like raindrops, spewing out destructive thunder fire and bombarding the eternal blades. The godly thunder of destruction was formed by the fusion of countless godly thunders. It also had the characteristics of the eternal godly thunder. The eternal blade could stop time, but could not stop the godly thunder of destruction. It kept colliding with the eternal blade. Suddenly, in the eternal kingdom, one of the 9 divine lights outside was like a millstone or a frisbee. It left the country and crashed into the demon court with lightning speed. At the same time, the other 3 supreme divine artifacts also erupted with power at this moment. In the Black Sky treasure box, 3 different battle swords slashed down. 3 roars sounded. Metamagnetic god-slaying sword. Yin-yang daybreak sword. 8 desolation picturesque sword. In the star map, the 28 mansions appeared. Countless stars gathered and condensed into the purple star emperor. It swept over with a roar. The 1,000 green lotus sword crashed into the demon court. Rumble. The lightning-gathering tower completely exploded. Billions of divine thunders covered the sky like a tide. Streaks of destructive lightning broke through the sky, shattering the vacuum. The blood-kill guards burst out streaks of destructive divine light of annihilation. Outside the demon court, countless divine lights enveloped the entire ancient city like a tide. The four supreme divine artifacts were locked in a fierce battle. In an instant, countless attacks erupted. Tens of millions of miles of the void collapsed and collapsed, constantly spewing out destructive aftershocks. In the center of the battlefield, even light could not be transmitted. It was as if the world had lost its sound in an instant. There was only destructive annihilation. Crack! An unusually ear-piercing shattering sound rang out. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1148. In the new month, those with guaranteed monthly tickets will be pushed up. Rumble. The five supreme divine artifacts separated at the same time. The Kingdom of Eternity, the Black Heavenly Treasure Box, the Heavenly Star Map, and 1,000 green lotus swords occupied the four corners, trapping the demon court in the middle. However, the fierce battle also caused considerable damage to the four supreme divine artifacts. The Black Heavenly Treasure Box's divine light dimmed, and there were faint scars on it. The stars in the Heavenly Star Map dimmed, and even the stars hanging on the star tree were scarce. The countless lotuses of 1,000 green lotus swords drifted away, and when it rotated, it seemed a little stiff. Only the Kingdom of Eternity remained high and mighty. It exuded a supreme aura. The demon court was surrounded in the middle. In the entire demon court, tiny cracks could be faintly seen on the surface of the city. They were densely distributed over a large area, and each of these cracks looked ferocious and terrifying. Under the joint attack of the four supreme divine artifacts, it suffered considerable damage for the first time. Even the cultivators and demons in the ancient city were affected, and many of them were killed or injured. The divine light that flowed on the ancient city was unusually dim. The extreme Emperor Jade archive was madly devouring the boundless chaos energy, pouring it into the cracks in an attempt to repair the damage as quickly as possible. Good. What a terrifying battle. Even peerless cultivators wouldn't be able to withstand that level of battle. Four Paragon divine weapons joined hands to attack the soaring firmament demon court, but they didn't suffer much damage. Only a few cracks appeared. The soaring firmament demon court was terrifying. They didn't know what materials they were made of. It's too strong and too strong. I'm afraid the demon emperor will not be able to escape this time. The four supreme divine artifacts have completely sealed off the void. Even a fly cannot escape. No matter where they went, there was no chance of survival. This time, the demon clan was really going to be exterminated. However, it seems like there will be other changes. The demon emperor is too difficult to predict. The cultivators were secretly speechless. They could not take their eyes off a battle of this level, for fear that they would miss a moment. That would be a regret for the rest of their lives. Good, 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 very good. Sakura sat upright on the soaring sky throne. His majestic body didn't move as he looked at the cracks that appeared on the ancient city. His mouth was filled with majesty as he spat out a cold sentence. However, merely four supreme divine weapons might not be able to suppress this emperor. Initially, your majesty was going to bring my demon race away from the purple gold mainland. However, I didn't expect you humans to be so arrogant. Do you really think that your majesty is made of paper? Today, before I leave, I shall teach you humans a painful lesson. Looking down on the heavens, he suddenly raised his left hand and shouted in his heart, "Cleanse with the blood of the emperor, combine with the tombstones, merge with my arm, and control the universe." Rumble. In his arm, the tombstone that had been sleeping was cleansed by the steaming hot sovereign blood. Immediately, it woke up. This was the sovereign blood of a half-step sovereign. Every drop contained unimaginable power. On the spot, countless mysterious runes appeared on the tombstone, and the figures of countless gods and demons flashed on the tombstone. Crack! A crisp sound came from the tombstone, and countless tiny cracks appeared without any warning. In an instant, they covered the entire tombstone. The tombstone suddenly collapsed, turning into billions of fragments of the same size. They quickly merged into the entire arm, entering every inch of flesh. On the skin of his left arm, countless terrifying figures of gods and demons using various combat skills appeared. Vast power flowed wildly in his arm, and the entire arm turned into a purple gold glaze, as if it was made of crystals. Boom! Boom! Di suddenly stood up from the throne. As he stood up, it was as if a 10,000-foot-tall mountain had suddenly grown from the ground. His entire sovereign body expanded wildly, and in the blink of an eye, it had expanded to a terrifying height of 14,000 feet. He was indomitable. Behind his head, his black hair danced wildly, erupting with boundless arrogance. Every strand of hair was scarier than a treasure. Glancing at the four supreme divine weapons coldly, his gaze landed on the cosmic star map as he shouted, "Trash hiding in the cosmic star map. I once said that no matter how high you go, you won't be able to escape with your lives. Today, I will let you know that the words of Sakura Heavens, are the will of the heavens. My words are the imperial edict. Extreme Emperor Creation Palm, Infinite Void." His left hand blasted out towards the heavenly cycle star map. In his hand, countless voids flashed, and within the voids, countless calamities were brewing. Among them, countless gods and demons merged. As he blasted out his palm, all of them were terrifying calamities. There would never be a day of rest. It's impossible to kill us. Endless constellations kill the shifter emperor. The faces of the 9 Supremes in the heavenly cycle star map changed drastically. However, they immediately became rather ferocious. They roared and activated the power of the heavenly cycle star map with all their might. Constellations formed one after another. Wolves, snakes, bulls, dragons, and so on. The 28 constellations formed one after another. Each of them had the terrifying battle strength of a half-step sovereign. They roared and blasted towards the huge palm. It was like a long river of constellations. Bang, bang, bang. However, as soon as these constellations touched the huge palm, they were all sucked into the palm. Within the voids, they were blasted apart by countless gods and demons. They were ground into dust. Countless constellations crumbled under the palm. They were turned into dust. It blasted directly onto the bodies of the 9 Supremes. Juntian Pagoda, block it for me. Sun God Banner, kill the shifter emperor. The 9 Supremes roared one after another. They displayed their trump cards and unleashed all of their strength. However, those treasures were like eggs when they blasted onto the palm. They were blasted apart one after another. There wasn't even the slightest bit of resistance. Tyrannical. It was not an ordinary kind of tyrannical. The left arm fused with the tombstone. Its power was almost at an unimaginable level. Rumble. Countless constellations crumbled. It grabbed towards the 9 Supremes and immediately grabbed all of them in its hand. It was like pinching a few bedbugs. It grabbed them domineeringly in its hand. Clowns, how dare you find trouble with me? Today, I will crush you to death. Your divine souls will be suppressed in the nether prison and will sink forever. Bang, bang, bang. After that, it didn't care about the consequences at all. It exerted force in its hand. On the spot, there were a few shrill screams. The 9 Supremes exploded on the spot. Their flesh and blood splattered as they were crushed into meat paste. The scene was almost bloody and tragic to the extreme. Moreover, the 9 divine souls were swallowed into its stomach. They were suppressed in the nether prison. The series of actions was unbelievably fast. It didn't even give the other supreme divine artifacts a chance to react. It killed the 9 Supremes on the spot, just like that. The brutality and viciousness of his methods had already reached the point of no return. Moreover, after crushing the 9 Supremes, it reached out and grabbed the star map in its hand. It grabbed the Lingxiao throne and suppressed the star map onto the throne. How dare you? Damn it, how dare you? This scene almost made all the human race Supremes vomit blood on the spot. Their guts were torn apart as they roared crazily. The thousand-sword green lotus charged over. This collision was about to destroy heaven and earth. In the black sky treasure box, 9 battle swords were unsheathed at the same time. With a shocking sword power, they slashed down to kill the monster emperor. In the kingdom of eternity, 9 divine rings flew up at the same time. Wherever they went, the void was frozen. They were imprisoned by the invisible power of an instant and the power of eternity. The 3 supreme divine artifacts were completely unleashed. They wanted to suppress the monster emperor. Good timing. Deshurtian's black hair danced wildly. Looking at the supreme divine artifacts, he clenched his fist and punched towards the thousand-sword green lotus. Rumble. The thousand-sword green lotus was hit by the punch. Countless green lotus sword chi swept out, covering the sky and earth. It was about to cut Deshurtian's arm into pieces. However, it was slightly shaken by Deshurtian. On his arm, billions of divine demons roared and unleashed countless mysterious battle techniques, shattering the void. When it hit the green lotus was dented with a clear fist mark. It was smashed hundreds of millions of miles away. Bang! Deshurtian turned his fist. His fist was like a blacksmith's hammer as it smashed heavily on the 9 battle swords. The vast force crushed the power on the battle swords. Crack! Cracks flashed continuously, covering the body of the battle swords as if they would shatter at any time. Piercing into the ground, countless terrifying cracks appeared on the ground, spurting out endless amounts of lava. Break! Then, he punched towards the 9 divine rings. The void that was originally frozen by the divine rings was almost destroyed by the fist. It shattered and was sent flying backward on spot. Every punch caused the void to shatter and be annihilated. Countless black holes flashed continuously. Stars swayed, and countless divine lights disappeared. There was a terrifying, murderous sound. Those who offend the demon clan will be killed no matter how far away they are. Deshurtian scanned the surroundings coldly. His gaze was so sharp that almost no cultivator could look him in the eye. His left hand tore at the void. One crack, a huge crack, was torn open. Demon Court shook and was about to enter the crack. Damn it. Don't even think about escaping. Waves of exasperated roars came from the void. Not far away, supreme divine artifacts rushed out at the same time and bombarded Demon Court. They wanted to stop Demon Court from leaving. Rumble. However, just as all the attacks were about to arrive, a fist landed heavily on all the attacks. The void was destroyed. Demon Court instantly broke through the air. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Only the words, "Those who offend the demon clan will be killed no matter how far away they are," still echoed in the void for a long time. Chase after it. That damned demon emperor stole the star map. We must not let him go. Even if we have to pay a high price, we must kill the demon emperor. An angry roar came from the void. There's no need to chase after it. Just as all the supreme divine artifacts were about to chase after it, a voice stopped all the divine artifacts. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1150. Welcome to the first update. Today, the brothers are doing their best. The monthly votes are actually about to rush up to the monthly votes ranking. Friends who still have votes, throw in a few and see if you can rush up to the ranking. If you can, then I will be very busy this month, hee. Ancestor, why don't you let us go after him? The demonic emperor killed 9 of our human race's almighties and took away the heavenly cycle star map. Letting him go is not only a humiliation to our human race, but will also affect the plan that we have been planning for countless years. We must not let the demonic emperor escape so easily. An exasperated roar came from within the thousand-sword green lotus. The thousand-sword green lotus was hit by Deshurtian's punch. Countless cracks appeared on the surface of the lotus, as if it would collapse at any time. It was extremely terrifying. That's right. Even if we have to pay a high price, we must kill the demonic emperor. Otherwise, our human race's prestige will be completely destroyed. Ancestor, why are you stopping us? An angry roar came from within the black heavenly treasure box. Enough! The demonic emperor has already entered the chaos. There is no need to chase after him. Come back with me. The one who had appeared was Taishang Tao Zhu, who was riding a green bull. There was no expression on his face, and there was not a trace of emotion. He only calmly spat out a sentence. Although his words seemed ordinary, there was an unquestionable majesty in them. Although they were extremely unwilling, in the face of Taishang Tao Zhu's unwavering expression, many of the supreme divine weapons disappeared. Humph! After all the divine artifacts left, the Grand Supreme Tao Ancestor looked up at the void. His gaze was unusually deep, but he let out a rare, cold snort. Faintly, there seemed to be some fear. Riding on the green bull, he disappeared. In the void, there was a pair of golden eyes silently watching. After the Grand Supreme Tao Ancestor left, it gradually disappeared. In the eyes of the all-heavens cultivators, this was something that even their spiritual souls would jump out of their bodies. Just now, from the moment Sakura made his move, the series of actions made everyone feel overwhelmed on the spot, unable to react in time. It was only when everything was over that they gradually regained their senses. But in his heart, it was as if countless raging waves were rolling. My God, good. What a terrifying Yao Emperor. Once he goes all out, he's so ridiculously strong. One palm strike, one palm strike, one palm strike. He peers through the star map, grabbed 9 experts like chickens, and crushed them to death. 9, that was 9 unparalleled almighties. In his hands, he didn't even have the strength to resist. This is simply too unbelievable. Tyrannical, simply tyrannical to the extreme. When the demon sovereign gets angry, it's no small matter. He smashed a supreme divine artifact with one punch. Could it be that the demon sovereign already has the battle prowess of a dominator? The human race has thoroughly lost face this time. Not only were the 9 supremes killed, even the star map was snatched away. It's too scary. Serves them right. The demon race has already announced that they are about to leave the purple gold continent and enter the chaos. The humans are simply asking for trouble by provoking them at this time. Did he really think that the demon race would allow others to bully and humiliate them? Now, he had really lost his army after accompanying his wife. However, did the demon sovereign really lead the demon race into the chaos? After witnessing the end of the battle, the Almighties left the heaven realm one after another. News about the battle spread throughout the great thousand world in an instant, and countless races received accurate information. Especially in that battle, there were Almighties who directly used an image-retaining pearl to record the battle scene. When the news spread, it shocked countless Almighties. In the purple gold continent, in the Li clan's territory, in the Li clan's divine palace, several rather burly Almighties sat inside. On the main seat, there was a middle-aged man whose appearance could not be seen clearly. In the palace, Almighty was quickly reporting something. The surrounding Almighties also nodded as they listened. The demon sovereign finally left the purple gold continent with the demon court. It's good that they left. Now, the future of the origin world in the purple gold continent is unknown. After the 3 rolls and 1 roll, it will be the annihilation tide. Under the calm surface, there are stormy waves that are enough to destroy thousands of cultivators. Although the demon sovereign might return after the annihilation tide, at least this period of buffer is enough to bring the demon race countless benefits. In the chaos, there are countless opportunities. The Almighty sighed. Fortunately, back then, Tu Xing's son and Tu Ling were on good terms with the demon sovereign. They allowed our Li clan to obtain a land deed in the demon court. We even used a considerable amount of wealth to buy 1/3 of the Earth element space in the 129,600 spaces. Many young descendants have been moved in, and it's enough to reproduce and continue our clan. Another Almighty also muttered to himself. Among the 3 supreme elders, 2 of them have shown signs of the 5 decay of heaven and man. The 2 supreme elders want to choose 2 young talents from the clan, the peerless geniuses, to inject their lifetime's cultivation into the bodies of their juniors through the enlightenment divine ability. I personally suggest that these two opportunities should be given to Tu Xing's son and Tu Ling. Another almighty suggested. The five decay of a celestial being had always been a sharp sword hanging over the heads of all peerless powerhouses. It could fall at any time. Once it reached a certain level, if one did not make any progress, there would be signs of the five decay of the celestial being. At this time, if one still did not have the confidence to overcome it, they would generally look for a successor to pass on their orthodoxy. They would even give up their cultivation base to help their juniors through enlightenment. And the disciples who receive the enlightenment divine ability would often be able to break through to the almighty level in an extremely short period of time. In the divine palace of the three-eyed god clan, the demon emperor actually caused havoc in the human clan's heaven realm. Not only did he fight against several supreme divine artifacts alone, he also seized the star map and pinched 9 almighty beings to death. He severely damaged several divine artifacts. What a terrifying growth rate. A dignified voice echoed in the palace. With the demon emperor's ability, it's impossible for him to break through to the dominator level directly. Once he breaks through to the dominator level, the signs will be even more obvious and earth-shattering than when he breaks through to the almighty level. If that's the case, the demon emperor's battle prowess must be due to some powerful secret technique. However, the demon emperor rashly moved the demon court into the chaos. He might not be able to find any benefits. Although there are opportunities in the chaos, it's also full of danger. Even almighty beings might be destroyed at any time if they enter the chaos. In his words, there was a hint of disdain for Di Shirtian's actions. In an inexplicably dilapidated palace in the purple gold continent, an old man raised his eyes and looked at the void. There seemed to be an indescribable expression on his face. There was relief, surprise, regret, hesitation, and a complicated expression. After a long time, he sighed and said, "Leaving the Zijin continent at this moment can be considered a brilliant move of retreating in order to advance. It can allow the demon clan to temporarily leave the quagmire that is the Zijin continent and avoid the eyes of other clans. It can temporarily leave the cusp of the storm to the human clan to deal with everything. When the demon gods invade, no cultivator will blame them for not going forward to resist the demon gods and pushing the human clan to the forefront. Let the human clan experience what the demon clan felt back then." There was praise in his voice. However, there was still some complexity in it. However, the chaos is not peaceful. There are no coordinates and no direction. Once you enter the chaos, you will start to lose your way. Although the primordial demon gods born in the chaos can't enter the origin world, they are extremely tyrannical existences in the chaos. There are even more traps in the chaos that can easily destroy almighty beings. Some demon gods are even powerful enough to split open the heavens and earth. The chaos is like an ocean, and the demon gods are like giant crocodiles. Cultivators are like small fish and shrimp when they enter. Whether you can obtain the opportunity or not depends on the demon emperor's luck. There was an inexplicable charm in his words. Not only were there opportunities in the chaos, there were also endless dangers. The chaos world was vast and boundless. It nurtured everything. The origin world and the demon god continent were two worlds that existed in the chaos. The chaos was great and filled with universal love. At this moment, in the depths of the primal chaos, there was a world wrapped in 7 colors. Through the barrier, one could see that it was a vast and boundless continent. On the continent, there were many small islands that were constantly orbiting around it. Those small islands looked as vast as a world. Boundless vitality. At this moment, a huge crack suddenly appeared at the edge of the 7-colored barrier. Once this crack appeared, a vast amount of chaos chi poured in continuously. At the same time, a stream of light shuttled out of the crack. It was a vast and majestic ancient city. There were no walls in the ancient city. There were only 4 ancient heavenly gates standing in 4 directions. Although there were no walls, Once one entered the chaos, the endless chaos chi did not directly rush into the city and corrode and assimilate the living beings in the city. Instead, it was directly rejected by the four heavenly gates. There was no way to enter the ancient city. As soon as one approached, one would immediately be swallowed by the four heavenly gates. Rumble. The countless cracks that appeared in the ancient city were quickly mended under the nourishment of the chaos chi. Broken Tao patterns reformed one after another. Ordinary treasures would either be swallowed by the chaos chi or corroded as soon as they fell into the chaos. However, when the demon court entered, they felt like a fish in water. They were not afraid of the chaos chi at all. The Imperial Jade Archive was wildly swallowing the chaos chi. Every time it swallowed a trace, the Tao patterns on the Jade Archive would become even more mysterious. The chaos chi has finally entered the chaos chi. Sakura sat on the numinous sky throne, suppressing the star map. Outside the numinous sky demon court, one could see that the void outside the city was completely a kind of gray gas, without any light at all. One could not see the direction or the path. It was as if one was lost in the darkness. The surroundings were unusually lonely. Outside the city, there was no sound at all. The chaos chi. This was the chaos chi. What a domineering tombstone. Di Shurtian forced out all the fragments of the map that had fused into his left arm and condensed them into a tombstone again. However, on his arm, one could see cracks that looked like porcelain. One could vaguely see flesh and blood. There was no doubt that if this continued, his entire arm might collapse on the spot. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1151. My brothers are very supportive, and I'm also motivated to write. Continue writing the third chapter. Fortunately, you escaped from the celestial realm in time and entered the chaos. Otherwise, your entire left arm would have been reduced to dust if you continued fighting with those supreme artifacts of the humans. Fortunately, you're already a half-step ruler. If it were before, your arm would have been destroyed. Once it was destroyed, the indestructible Emperor Talisman would collapse. The damage to you would be too great. Ming also secretly exhaled and sighed. In my opinion, this tombstone needs to be broken through to the sovereign rank at the very least before you can completely refine it into one with your body and control this monstrous power. Otherwise, borrowing power like this will be an extremely heavy burden on your body. Sovereign? Di Shurtian looked at the chaos outside with a thoughtful look in his eyes. It was abnormally deep. By the way, Lunatic Emperor, you'll only return after the Annihilation Tide, so that the humans can resist the invasion of the demon gods. However, what about the bet you made with true Lord Ku Rong back then? If that guy really hides in one place for a few hundred years, we'll still lose the bet when we return. Do we really have to return all the wealth we plundered from Ku Rong to him? Wouldn't that be letting him off too easily? Nether cried out in a strange and fierce voice. He knew that Di Shurtian was always a man of his word. When he made the bet, he didn't use any of the connate spirit treasures he obtained from Ku Rong. Even the cloud-gathering banner was left untouched. Otherwise, it would have been integrated into the demon court long ago. He was waiting for the day when the winner of the bet would be decided. You're so stupid. Big Brother must have thought of a countermeasure long ago. Ku Rong won't be able to escape from Big Brother. Huan giggled and looked at Dark with disdain. Her eyes were full of cunning. Dark felt a chill in his heart when he saw that. He quickly hid far away. Looking for Ku Rong is very difficult for other people. However, for me, it is not difficult at all. After 60 years, I'll naturally have a way to convince him. Submit to the demon court. Sakura had a confident look as he muttered to himself irresolutely. Husband, are you all right? At this moment, seeing that they had entered the chaos, Chunshi immediately stood up and looked at Di Shurtian worriedly. The foundation of the human race is really deep. However, they are also shameless enough to use so many divine artifacts to besiege my husband. Once Tianxiang becomes a peerless expert, I will definitely ask the human race for advice. Oomph. Su Tianxiang's face was full of worry as she snorted coldly. Little sister once heard from father that in ancient times, the human clan was not so powerful. When they rebelled against the demon clan, it was often several cultivators besieging a powerful demon clan figure. Now it seems that I was right, Katomi also said with extreme disgust. The foundation of the human race is really extraordinary. If each divine artifact requires 9 peerless experts to activate, then the number of powerful demons in the human race must have reached a terrifying level. The human race is indeed the race that is best at hiding their strength, Mei Xin said thoughtfully as she tapped her forehead with her slender finger. The human race usually did not show their strength, but when they did, they could scare the cultivators of other races to death on the spot. It's okay. Now that we have left the chaos, it's time for the world to open up. Moreover, the spoils of war this time are not bad. After indicating that he was not injured, Di Shirtian waved his hand and grabbed the heavenly cycle star map that was suppressed under the Lingxiao throne. Rumble. Now that the heavenly cycle star chart was put away, it was like a picture scroll. However, it seemed a little broken. Inside it was a mysterious star map. As soon as it came out from under the Lingxiao throne, it immediately pulled out a ray of starlight, trying to break through the demon court and enter the chaos. Come back. Seeing this, Di Shirtian reached out his hand and casually touched the star map. The map seemed to have broken through hundreds of millions of miles in an instant, but it seemed as if it had never moved at all. When he reached out, he had already grabbed the ancient map in his hand. No matter how it moved, it could not escape from his hand. What an impressive cosmic star diagram, he exclaimed. It's actually a complete understanding of the cosmic star formation. It contains all the star arts, and it even has the ancient star tree as the source of vital energy. Countless souls are pouring into the star tree and praying to it. It provides an endless amount of faith power. It nurtures the stars. It is an extreme supreme artifact that has reached the peak. Unfortunately, there is no possibility of it becoming immortal. Di Shiyan's eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. With a glance at the scroll, he immediately understood the various mysteries of the heavenly cycle star map. Haha, if such a peak supreme artifact star map is integrated into the demon court, it might be able to take the final step and enter the immortal realm. Ming shouted excitedly. Oomph. Stupid prison guard. Although the heavenly cycle star map is a peak supreme artifact, it doesn't have many great Daos. If it is integrated into the demon court, it will only be able to push it to half immortal. If it wants to become an immortal artifact, it will need more great Daos to be perfected or even perfected. Huaner blinked and giggled as she counted with her fingers. The key to becoming an immortal artifact was the number of great Daos it had. Without enough great Daos to support the world, it would not become immortal and become an existence on the same level as the Purple Gold Continent and the Demon God Continent. Every great Dao was like a heavenly pillar. An immortal artifact would definitely make the world boundless. If there were fewer heavenly pillars, the world would not be able to support it, and it would collapse. Even if it was upgraded, it would crumble. A divine artifact would crumble. It wasn't as if 2 or 3 supreme artifacts could be fused together to become an immortal artifact. Immortality was a threshold. Integrate the heavenly cycle star map into the demon court. Integrate the scale of destiny into the demon court. From now on, the demon court will have a sun, a moon, and stars. There will be the alternation of day and night. There will be the heavenly cycle revolution. There will be the heavenly cycle divination. There will be the heavenly cycle connection. The eternal river hibernation. Di Shirtian sent the entire heavenly cycle star map into the demon court's void. Immediately, the star map was like a boundless painting that was reflected in the void. Whoosh! Countless thick chains of laws appeared out of thin air, binding the star diagram. At the same time, they spat out pure, chaotic, divine flames, tempering the entire ancient diagram. Rumble. The heavenly cycle star map had been damaged by Di Shirtian, and cracks had appeared on the star tree. At this moment, under the refinement of the entire demon court, there was not much resistance at all. The entire star map was like a water wave, strangely merging into the void, rippling out circles of ripples. It merged with the demon court at an astonishing speed. Vast amounts of star yuan chi continuously poured into the ancient star diagram. The stars in the ancient star map flashed with starlight, and the star tree that had cracks on it quickly healed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After a while, the heavenly cycle star map finally merged completely into the demon court. In an instant, one could clearly see that the ancient star map had completely disappeared in the void. It was replaced by a vast and complete star space. Rays of starlight poured down on the entire demon court like a tide. At the same time, they shone on the 129,600 spaces. One could see it when one looked up. A bright moon hung high in the sky. The moon was surrounded by stars, making the starry sky look unusually bright. The demon court was shrouded in darkness, but under the starlight, it was unusually beautiful. Rumble. When the star map was refined and completely merged into the void, a vast amount of power was fed back from the void and poured into the entire ancient city. Immediately, in a series of rumbles, the demon court began to expand violently again. The vast amount of divine crystals that had been accumulated was also continuously integrated into the ancient city. It made the ancient city expand even faster. It expanded again and again. At the same time, the nearly liquefied vital energy of heaven and earth thinned considerably, reaching a level that was normal in the primordial era. But at the same time, the power of the stars poured down in an endless stream. Countless cultivators who cultivated cultivation arts related to the stars were overjoyed. A pillar of stars formed in the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive in the blink of an eye. Destiny. Destiny. The scale of destiny appeared out of thin air on the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive. Strands of destiny law were extracted and poured into the Jade Archive. The talisman of destiny in the Jade Archive grew with astonishing speed. The ruler of destiny had personally refined this scale of destiny. Although the Tao of destiny within it wasn't very powerful, it was very complete. As soon as it entered the talisman of destiny, it took only a few breaths of time to complete its initial steps. Complete and flawless. Rumble. The materials used to refine the scale of destiny began to strangely melt under the power of the divine flames, transforming into a river of destiny. It fell into the newly born Tao lotus of destiny and swirled around it. In an instant, all life in the demon court seemed to sense the aura of destiny. The ancient city continued to expand. After a long while, it finally stopped. It had grown by half its original size. It was even more vast and boundless. The aura emanating from the demon court grew more and more subtle. Faintly, the aura of eternity permeated the air. Demon court, half-step eternity. However, after reaching half-step eternity, there was almost no way to advance any further. It was as if the path ahead had been cut off. "What a powerful demon court," said Maexian. Maexian said slowly, "However, husband, you should know that the more powerful a supreme artifact is, the harder it is for it to reach the immortal level. Normally, a peak supreme is enough to reach eternity. But now that you're a half-step ruler, it's even harder for you to reach eternity. You need at least 2,000 great Daos that are truly perfect. You need at least 2,000 great Daos to form the heavenly pillars. If you hadn't fused it with the star map, you should have been able to reach eternity with 1,500 pillars. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation." Chapter 1152. Third update. Brothers, give Myriad Demon a few monthly votes. Let's see if it's possible for him to get on the list. The stronger the demon court was now, the bigger the world would be when he became an immortal. Naturally, the number of pillars of the great path that he needed to support the world would be even more terrifying. Although he had become a half-step immortal this time, he also needed more pillars of the great path to break through. With every gain, there must be a loss. That was the logic. It doesn't matter. The stronger the demon court is now, the more powerful it will be when it becomes an immortal artifact in the future. It might even be possible for it to become a mid-grade immortal artifact. Tion wasn't worried. Since he dared to break through it this time, he wasn't afraid of future troubles. The chaos space was the mother of all things. It was so great that it could give birth to the purple gold continent and the demon god continent. How could it not have a way to complete the 3,000 great paths in the demon court? It was just that those divine objects were difficult to find, but it didn't mean that they couldn't be found. Husband, you enter the chaos space rashly. How much do you know about it? Mei-Xian blinked her eyes and looked at Sakura with a smile that wasn't a smile as she suddenly asked, I'd like to hear about it. Indra didn't know much about the chaos space. He had only entered the chaos space in ancient times, but it was only for a few moments. The rest of the information was obtained from the mouths of other almighty experts in the Nether Prison. He didn't really know much about it. I'll prepare some food and wine in the Pure Heart Palace. Your Majesty, why don't you follow me back to the palace and we can talk about it in detail? Mei-Xian chuckled and invited him. Tion's eyes flashed, and he said, all right. With a wave of his hand, he dismissed the officials. Under the leadership of Blood Dove, tens of millions of bloody kill guards quickly spread out to guard the demon court. The cold killing intent deterred the ambitions in the hearts of all the cultivators. In the city, no one dared to do anything illegal. After the officials of the demon court left, the demon court returned to its original location. The demons also returned to their lairs and began to cultivate diligently. The moonlight above his head was like rain, and the stars were like rain. Many of the all-heavens cultivators were not in the mood to cultivate because they had suddenly entered the chaos. Many of them were strolling around the streets. Now, many shops had opened up on every street. Some cultivators who were proficient in pill refinement spent a large sum of money to buy a piece of land in the city and set up shop there, becoming the shopkeeper of the shop. In order to refine pills, they would hire some idle cultivators to take care of the shop while they themselves would focus on refining pills and selling them in the shop. It was very prosperous. There were shops that specialized in selling materials and spirit essences. Most of the spirit essences in those shops were collected from the 129,600 spaces. Some cultivators would sell them to the shops and then sell them to the cultivators in charge of alchemy. Some were refining tools, some were selling all kinds of rare treasures, some were specially open restaurants, and some were staying inns. It wasn't just the demon court that was monopolizing the market anymore. Instead, it was a competition between 100 schools of thought. Some were run by rogue cultivators, while others were run by various clans. There were all kinds of strange things. However, the best treasures were still those belonging to the demon court, and the most prosperous one belonged to the brothel opened by the Sky Incense Valley. The women inside were all outstanding beauties and naturally charming. Almost all of them were demonesses captured from the demon god continent. They were proficient in dual cultivation techniques. When cultivators entered, they really enjoyed themselves endlessly. They wanted to die. Moreover, there are also some female cultivators who needed money and money. They were willing to sell themselves in the brothel and could leave at any time. It didn't arouse the disgust of other cultivators or even the demon race. After all, it was voluntary. It was precisely because of some of these places that the demon court seemed to be quite prosperous. At this moment, a large number of cultivators came out to wander, where they entered the restaurant and ate while looking at the chaos outside the demon court. They revealed curious and excited expressions and began to chat with each other. Ordinary cultivators who hadn't reached the peerless realm wouldn't be able to enter the chaos. Now that they had this opportunity, how could they not feel excited? At this moment, in the Pure Heart Palace of the Jade Pool, there were maids waiting outside. All of them were delicate and decent. In the Pure Heart Palace, there was a table of sumptuous food and wine. Tion and Mei-Xian sat facing each other, eating delicious food and wine while casually chatting about some unimportant topics. After 3 rounds of wine, May Xian put down the gorgeous and exquisite cup in her hand, and her beautiful eyes fell on Tion. She chuckled and said, "Husband, you are a peerless genius. In a short period of time, you were able to break through from a mortal tiger in the mortal world. You sang triumphantly and advanced continuously. You transformed time and time again in the war and reached the supreme cultivation of a half-step ruler today. In the purple gold continent, and even in the demon god continent, you could be said to be an anomaly. However, husband, you have cultivated for too short time. Even if you have extraordinary opportunities, there are many things that you don't know. For example, the chaos." May Xian spoke with assurance, her face full of sincerity. "That's right." Tion nodded without hiding anything and said, "Although this emperor's cultivation is far superior to ordinary people, and I know most of the things in the purple gold continent, the origin world, and even the demon god continent. Even if I don't know, I can figure out a thing or two. However, the chaos is a domain that only peerless almighties can touch upon. Those who truly know are only peerless almighties. Moreover, even if they know, it is only superficial knowledge. This emperor also knows half of it. If he knew, he knew. If he didn't know, he didn't know. There is no need to pretend to know when one was on the path of the great Tao." He was also looking forward to seeing Charming Heart. In terms of her understanding of the primal chaos, no one in the Lingxiao demon court could match her. One had to know that May Xian was a part of the heart-devouring demon Ancestor and had inherited all of its memories. A demon Ancestor's understanding of the chaos was more than 10 times or 100 times greater than a peerless almighty. "You and I are one, so May Xian will naturally tell husband everything I know," May Xian said with a smile. May Xian chuckled. Although she was now one of the demon concubines, she also knew that her position in Sakura's heart was far less than Chun-Shi and the others. Naturally, she wouldn't let go of any opportunity to deepen her position. She immediately began to talk about the secrets of the chaos. In the eyes of the gods and demons, the chaos is the mother of all things in the world. It gives birth to life and gives birth to creation. Chaos Chi is the mother of all Chi. Every strand of Chaos Chi can be split into countless types of heaven and earth origin Chi. However, it is precisely because Chaos Chi gives birth to all things that ordinary life forms will be devoured and assimilated into Chaos Chi as soon as they enter the Chaos Chi. This makes the Chaos Chi extremely dangerous, and it prevents any cultivator below peerless almighty from entering. May Xian said. However, this was only what most experts knew about the Chaos Chi, and it was not very profound. Tion only nodded slightly. The Chaos Chi is the mother of all Chi. Not only is it full of creation, but it is also full of ruthlessness. Chaos storms will sweep up from time to time, and when they do, the destructive power is extremely terrifying. Ordinary peerless almighty will die. Moreover, some forbidden areas will be born in the Chaos Chi, and they will evolve into terrifying danger zones. Moreover, they are all extremely forbidden areas. They are all forbidden areas for life. Once you enter, your chances of escaping are extremely slim. Every step in the Chaos Chi is dangerous. It is not just about opportunities and fortuitous encounters, May Xian said with a serious expression on her face. If the Chaos Chi can give birth to heaven and earth, then it can naturally destroy all things in the world. Tion was not too surprised by this and nodded slightly. Therefore, in the Chaos Chi, there are 9 types of danger zones formed by the Chaos Chi. There are not 9 places, but 9 types. Each of them is extremely terrifying, and they're all forbidden areas for life. May Xian said again. 9 types of forbidden areas for life. Tion's expression was unusually grave. These 9 descriptions clearly meant that there were countless similar forbidden areas in the Chaos Chi. These forbidden areas were for peerless almighties. One could imagine how terrifying they were. Not only that, but the chaos chi also gives birth to many god fiends. These god fiends are called primordial god fiends. Some are kind, while others are violent. Each god fiend is extremely terrifying. Because they were born in the chaos chi does not corrode them at all. Instead, they're like fish in water. Because they are born from the chaos chi, these god fiends cannot directly break through the barrier of heaven and earth to enter the origin world or the demon god continent. Therefore, they roam the chaos chi to survive. Some prefer to live alone, while others prefer to live in groups. These god fiends especially like to plunder experts from the origin world or the demon god continent. Once you run into them, it is quite dangerous to fight them. Mei Xian did not hold back and continued. Among the primordial god fiends, there are several extremely terrifying existences known as the primordial sovereigns. There are 9 primordial sovereigns. When I was at full strength, I was even slightly weaker than the primordial sovereigns. The primordial 9 sovereigns? Di Shirtian took a deep breath, a solemn expression on his face. He was well aware of Mei Xian's identity. If even she said that she could not defeat any of the primordial sovereigns at full strength, then he could already guess how terrifying the primordial sovereigns were. Through Mei Xian's explanation, he had a rough idea of what the primal chaos realm was like. If he had not left the purple gold continent, he would not have known that there were so many inconceivable secrets and worlds in the chaos chi realm. He vaguely felt like his horizons had been broadened. The primordial 9 sovereigns gathered countless materials, spirit treasures, and divine items in the chaos chi realm to forge a tyrannical ancient city. It is an immortal grade divine weapon called the Sovereign Divine Realm. It is where large numbers of primordial god fiends gather. Many god fiends who want to trade often go to the Sovereign Divine Realm to purchase items. If you enter the chaos chi realm, the Sovereign Divine Realm is a place worth visiting. Mei Xian threw out another piece of information. Sovereign Divine Realm? Immortal grade divine tool? Di Shirtian's eyes couldn't help but contract in an instant. My goodness, the chaos chi realm is not as desolate as I imagined. It turns out that there are such incredible secrets. Back then, the Emperor of the Underworld and I roamed the chaos chi realm for nearly 10,000 years, but we did not know of the existence of this sovereign divine realm. Incredible, incredible. Lunatic D, your concubine is worth it. Dark clicked his tongue inwardly. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1153. The information that Enchanted Heart had given him was priceless. There are many things that not even the most powerful experts knew about. For example, the number of people who knew about the Sovereign Divine Realm could be counted on one hand. Even if an ordinary expert entered the primal chaos and learned of the existence of the primeval god fiends, they might not know about the Sovereign Divine Realm. Even if they did, they might not know its exact location. Not to mention the 9 forbidden zones of the primal chaos. Don't look down on the matter of just a few words. Every single one of those words could save countless lives. If not for the fact that they were clueless and had barged into the 9 forbidden zones, they wouldn't have been able to escape at all. However, if they understood the characteristics of the 9 forbidden zones, they might still have a chance to escape. There were many things that couldn't be explained to outsiders. This information alone gave Di Shirtian a rough understanding of the primal chaos. Only those who had reached the level of the Sovereign or the Demon Ancestor would be able to understand some of these secrets. If the Sovereign Divine Realm can gather all the primeval god fiends and primeval wild beasts in the primal chaos, will we be able to enter? Sakra's eyes flashed with a wisp of light as he suddenly asked. The 9 primeval paragons of the Paragon God domain have always been mysterious. They're in seclusion, and legend has it that they're trying to break through to the Aeonic Divinity realm, which is above the Sovereign realm. Furthermore, they don't forbid other cultivators from entering the Paragon God domain. It's possible to trade for divine materials and items that can only be found in the primal chaos. There are even supreme treasures that can only be found in the primal chaos, which is even more mysterious than the primal chaos. However, the sovereign divine realm is filled with powerful experts and experts. Ordinary items and even currency are meaningless to them. Furthermore, there was no currency that could gain their approval. Thus, the sovereign divine realm is a place of bartering. Only when both parties are willing can a trade be made. Without a precious treasure, you won't be able to trade for anything good. Maexian chuckled. However, husband, as the ruler of the demon court, you have an immeasurable amount of wealth. Many of these items are precious treasures to the sovereign divine realm. Even if you enter the sovereign divine realm, you'll still be able to trade for a large number of items. Good, good. If that's the case, then the chances of the demon court breaking through to the immortal grade will be greatly increased. Once it breaks through to the immortal grade, it won't be any weaker than the sovereign grade divine artifacts. Ian's eyes shone brightly. He was looking forward to the sovereign realm. In the chaos, any spirit item, divine item, or even spirit root possessed unfathomable power. For example, the living soil of the nine heavens could elevate the great Tao of Earth recorded in the Jade Archive to an unfathomable level. It could even transform the great Tao of Earth from a great Tao law into a great Tao law. Magical laws were something that could only be created when the deathless immortals reached the level of the Ionic God realm, and were far more powerful than magical laws. In the chaos, divine items like the living soil of the nine heavens were definitely not rare. Obtaining it was truly a supreme opportunity. It could cause the demon court to undergo another transformation. Furthermore, there are plenty of grotto mansions created by old freaks in primal chaos, and all of them are incredibly terrifying. Some even created their own clans and call themselves emperors and patriarchs. Given your current strength as a half-step hegemon, you'll have to be extremely careful in the primordial chaos. Beguiling Heart reminded him again. How do I get to the sovereign realm? Tion nodded and asked the most crucial question. There was no direction in the primordial chaos. Even if he knew about the existence of the sovereign realm, it would be extremely difficult to find it. It might take hundreds of thousands of years, but he believed that Beguiling Heart would have a way to get there. Husband, the primordial chaos has been around for countless years, and a large number of primordial god fiends have been born. These ancient existences are no less intelligent than any other intelligent race. Living in the primordial chaos, who wouldn't have one or two good friends? Although there's no direction in the primordial chaos, they still came up with a unique method to communicate, find their friends, and determine their location. This method is called the Sovereign Life Lantern. Beguiling Heart said calmly, "What's the Sovereign Life Lantern?" Tion took a deep breath and asked directly. The Sovereign Life Lantern is a unique treasure. It doesn't have any destructive power, but once it's lit up, it can lock onto the coordinates you want to go to and allow the demon court to move quickly in that direction. However, where you want to go, you must first obtain the other party's lantern guide, which is the coordinates. As long as the lantern guide is there, your Sovereign Life Lantern will be connected, and you can easily find the other party's location. As she spoke, Beguiling Heart transmitted the method of refining the Sovereign Life Lantern to Tion's mind. At the same time, Tion also clearly understood the various mysteries of the Sovereign Life Lantern. This unique treasure was actually created by the primordial 9 sovereigns. As long as it was refined, the newly refined Sovereign Life Lantern would automatically form a Sovereign Life Lantern guide, and it would be able to clearly sense the location of the Sovereign Realm. Continue moving forward. He wouldn't lose his way. Other than the Sovereign Life Lantern guide, the other lantern guides had to be given by other experts willingly. Otherwise, there was no way to find the location of other experts. Moreover, even if he obtained the other party's lantern guide, as long as the other party's Sovereign Life Lantern was extinguished, he wouldn't be able to sense it. This also prevented others from using the Sovereign Life Lantern to lock onto the location and chase after him. to go to a certain place and light up the sovereign life lantern. It was an incredible creation. Moreover, the sovereign life lantern could illuminate the path ahead. It was like the light in the darkness. During the refining process, the key wasn't the materials, but a set of mysterious restrictions called the sovereign life lantern restriction. It was this set of restrictions that gave the sovereign life lantern its mysterious power. If that's the case, then this emperor will immediately refine the sovereign life lantern and head to the sovereign realm. I hope there's something this emperor needs in the sovereign realm. Tion talked with beguiling heart for a long time. When the night was almost over, he suddenly stood up and said goodbye to beguiling heart. He had to leave first to refine the sovereign life lantern. Husband, when beguiling heart heard this, a strange expression appeared on her face. She smiled and said, "There's no rush to refine the sovereign life lantern. As long as the imperial heavenly treasury is open, this concubine will be able to refine it. The night is long and the sky is dark. Beguiling heart and you are husband and wife, but we haven't consummated our marriage yet. Why don't you rest in my pure heart palace tonight? Beguiling heart's body is yours, husband." Her gentle words seemed to contain an indescribable seduction. Her appearance, as if she was at his mercy, could break the mind of any expert. Even Shirtian's mind, and Will couldn't help but waver. He had an urge to stay. However, Shirtian's extreme emperor tyrannical heaven art appeared on its own, emitting a strange sound of the great Tao. He calmed his agitated mind, but his expression didn't change at all. He calmly glanced at beguiling heart's body and said meaningfully, "Don't worry, your 9 cauldrons beauty body will be mine sooner or later. It's just that the accumulation in my body hasn't reached the critical point for a breakthrough. Once it reaches the critical point, I will naturally come and take what belongs to this emperor." Shirtian's calm voice was filled with endless majesty. After saying this, he turned and walked out at a leisurely pace. He left behind a sentence, "You're a demon concubine of my demon court. Naturally, you can go to the imperial heavenly treasury. Since you volunteered, then I'll leave the refining of the sovereign life lantern to you." This demon emperor! Beguiling heart heard this and laughed a few times strangely. She shook her head. She sat down alone and looked at the chaotic world outside. This demonic woman who wants to take people's lives. Shirtian left the pure heart palace with a bitter smile on his face. It was as if there was a ball of fire burning in his body. He didn't say anything and quickly walked toward Qinshi's palace. The moment he entered, he saw Qinshi playing a zither in the palace. He didn't even think about it and directly walked over. Amidst a series of exclamations, he carried her to the cloud bed. While Qinshi was blushing, he directly pressed her down. Not long after, waves of seductive moans echoed in the palace. That sound seemed to be able to seduce people's hearts. When the maids waiting outside the palace heard it, they all revealed embarrassed expressions and were uneasy. Their eyes were rippling like spring water. It was as if there was a little deer running around in their hearts. After a long time, several hours, when it was almost dawn, the sounds in the palace gradually died down amidst the loud moans. 3 days later, a golden lantern suddenly hung on the southern sky gate of the demon court. Bursts of golden light bloomed from the lantern and scattered into the chaos, illuminating the path ahead. It was as if there was a mysterious power in this lantern that was inexplicably guided. He could sense a vast divine domain standing in the midst of the primal chaos. The lantern could clearly sense the direction and location of the divine domain. Rumble. When the lantern was hung up, it directly absorbed a ray of spiritual light from the purple gold mainland into the lantern's flame, causing the lantern to have the light guide of the purple gold mainland. With the help of the lantern, one could find the location of the purple gold mainland and return at any time. The demon court, which had stayed outside the purple gold mainland for several days, finally began to move at this moment. Under the guidance of the supreme life lantern, it quickly shuttled into the depths of the chaos. The demon court was vast and boundless. With this movement, the surrounding chaos aura constantly churned violently. Faintly, the chaos was collapsing and breaking apart, turning into earth, fire, water, and wind. Faintly, heaven and earth were evolving in the chaos. Countless laws flashed, but these new worlds did not have a strong barrier to support them. They immediately began to be crushed by the chaos. But at the same time, a mysterious devouring force came from the demon court. It stripped the laws derived from the new worlds at an astonishing speed and devoured them into the Emperor's Jade archive. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come a Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1154. Those who still have tickets, please help me up. Ding ding ding. The Imperial Jade Archive kept vibrating, and countless heavenly sounds of the great Tao kept reverberating in the Jade Archive. Faintly, one could hear the incredible sounds of the Tao. In the Jade Archive, there were mysterious divine writings condensing, forming a strange scripture of the great Tao. Katomi's 3 layers dance immortal. 9 chi reflected in the sky, and the divine cover child gave birth to purple smoke. It is said that the Jade Book can be studied carefully, and it can be read for 10,000 days. 1,000 disasters can eliminate 100 diseases, and it does not fear the cruelty of tigers and wolves, and it can prolong old age. Above is the soul, below is the guanyin, left is the shaoyang, right is the taiyin. Behind is the secret door, and in front is the door of life. Rising from the sun and entering the moon, the breath exists. The 4 chi are combined, and the purple smoke is divided into 3 clouds. It irrigates the spiritual roots of the 5 flowers, and the 7 liquids flow between the huts. Purple and yellow enter the dantian, and the secluded room illuminates the yang. The great Tao is not troubled, and there is a spirit in the Niwen. The spirit of the hair is called Taiyuan. The spirit of the brain is called Niwen. The spirit of the eyes is called Ingxian. The spirit of the nose is called Lingjian. The spirit of the ears is called Yutian. The spirit of the tongue is called Zhengluan. The spirit of the teeth is called Luoqian. One side of the divine sex Niwen, and the Niwen 9 truths have a room. Within an inch of this place, one wears the purple flying gauze. But thinking of one part, one's lifespan is endless, and not all reside in one's head. Sitting in the outer side, one's heart is the same. Divine writings kept flying out of the Jade Archive and condensing. However, this mysterious scripture was obviously not complete. It was a kind of incomplete scripture. The divine writings were not any kind of words, as if they were the Tao writings of the great Tao. Every word and sentence contained the supreme truth. Carefully savoring it, one could feel the profound truth in the scripture. The supreme great Tao. It was as if there were countless mysterious spells, boundless supernatural powers, and endless great Tao. Even if one could not comprehend it, as long as one listened to it, it could make one's state of mind undergo an incredible transformation, and it would be difficult for evil to invade. It was the essence of the great Tao. It was the true supreme Tao scripture. There were no techniques or supernatural powers, but it seemed to be the outline of all great Tao. However, this Taoist scripture was incomplete. However, as it continued to devour the laws of the new worlds born in the chaos, it made up for the great Tao in the Imperial Jade Archive. It also made the Tao scripture faintly improve. One could clearly see that the 3,000 great Taos in the Jade Archive were constantly circulating and even colliding. Every time they collided, they would condense Tao runes one after another. After entering the chaos, the demon court showed signs of being like a fish in water. Rumble. Just as the demon court was making its way to the sovereign god realm, 3 terrifying tribulation clouds suddenly appeared out of the chaos and rushed into the demon court. When they collided, they strangely merged together. They merged into one. The vast pressure emitted by the tribulation clouds rolled over the entire demon court like a tidal wave. This scene caused countless cultivators to be so shocked that their souls almost jumped out of their bodies. Heavens, that's karmic tribulation. Who's transcending tribulation? Who's breaking through to become a peerless expert? Not just one, but three. With all three karmic tribulations added together, they're definitely done for this time. What a terrifying karmic tribulation. It's equivalent to several times, maybe even 10 times stronger than an ordinary one. Who would have the guts to transcend three karmic tribulations at the same time? Karmic tribulations of heaven and earth would only appear when an ancient powerhouse broke through to become a peerless expert. When they appeared, there was no doubt that someone was breaking through. However, with so many karmic tribulations stacked together, almost no one was optimistic about the person undergoing the tribulation. Whoosh, whoosh. Three divine lights suddenly appeared in the sky above the demon court and faced the karmic tribulations head-on. Rumble. In an instant, countless heavenly tribulations struck the three figures in a frenzy, enveloping the entire space. It was impossible to see the three figures clearly. A snow-white heavenly bridge broke through the space and suppressed the heavenly tribulations. It seemed to be suppressing the heavenly tribulations and stopping them in their tracks. A vast Huang Quan sacred river and a 9-story pagoda soared into the sky. They struggled to resist the heavenly tribulations. The power of the heavenly tribulations was extremely terrifying. The three figures could not hold on for more than a moment. The Dharma treasures on their bodies were shattered one after another, and even their bodies were constantly shattering. It was as if they would die in the karmic tribulation at any time. However, just as they were about to be unable to hold on any longer, vaguely, a huge jade archive appeared out of thin air. A vortex appeared in the jade archive and swallowed the entire heavenly tribulation, breaking through the heavenly tribulation. Whoosh, whoosh. Three divine lights directly enveloped the three figures. After a long time, they woke up. Their bodies emitted a vast divine aura. At the same time, they knelt in the direction of the Lingxiao Palace and the Jade Pool and said, Duo Bao, Tian Can, and Huang Quan, thank your majesty for your help. Your subjects were able to become ancient Fey gods. We will definitely serve the demon court loyally. You may return to your positions. A voice filled with the majesty of supreme being resounded in the void. Yes, Emperor. When the three elders heard this, their bodies trembled and they immediately agreed. With a flash, they disappeared from the void. However, this scene caused the cultivators in the ancient city to be secretly shocked. They were also secretly shocked. Tribulation transcendence. What they have just transcended is the karmic tribulation of heaven and earth. This is a karmic tribulation that only appears when one is a peerless expert. Under the protection of the demon emperor, all of them succeeded. They directly broke through from ancient heavenly demons to ancient demon gods. Now, there are three more ancient demon gods in the demon court. Supreme mighty figures. The strength of the demon court has increased again. I've heard that because of the monster emperor, there are already two ancient monster gods in the soaring firmament demon court. One of them is called the sky-reaching ape king know-it-all, and the other is called the divine crow dowlord. Now, with the addition of the three ancient monster gods who have just broken through, there will be 5 ancient monster gods in the demon court. With the addition of the monster emperor and the bewitching concubine, the strength of the soaring firmament demon court has reached an astounding level. Under the leadership of the demon emperor, the demon race has indeed begun to quickly recover to the peak of the ancient demon race. The cultivators pondered in their hearts, feeling the continuous strengthening of the demon court. Their reverence for the demon court deepened day by day. At this moment, Tian was not in the Jade Pool. Instead, he had entered the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive. Back then, the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive had absorbed the small chaos bead, causing a chaos bead to be born in the Jade Archive. Although this chaos bead was not as vast as the real chaos world, there was still a huge amount of chaos chi in the bead. Every time the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive absorbed the chaos chi, 10% of it would be poured into this small chaos bead. It increased the chaos chi inside, allowing the chaos bead to grow. It kept expanding. At this moment, Di Shutian's emperor body was sitting upright in the vast chaos chi in the chaos bead. The 14,000 feet emperor body stood in the chaos bead. Every inch of the emperor body was suffused with a resplendent divine glow, flickering with strands of shocking emperor aura. It was purple gold and glassy. Every line on the emperor's body was like a mysterious Tao pattern. It was as if countless living beings were praying and worshiping him outside. The surrounding chaos chi washed over the emperor body. Not only was it unable to corrode the emperor body, but it also quickly entered the emperor body through the pores of his body. The mysterious Tao sounds from the ultimate Emperor Jade archive kept echoing in his ears. The Tao scripture kept echoing in his mind. Listening to the Tao scripture, Di Shutian's mind was unprecedentedly clear. There was a spiritual light flickering every moment. He deduced all kinds of mysterious divine abilities and dharma spells. In his mind, a purple gold manual kept rising and falling. Countless figures were constantly practicing all kinds of combat skills, cultivation techniques, and ultimate arts. The cultivation techniques they cultivated were all different. Some were cultivating the heavenly demon god slaying technique. Some were cultivating the white tiger divine manual. Some were cultivating the 7-star manual. Some were cultivating the primeval sword manual, and so on. Every figure cultivated all kinds of cultivation techniques to a profound level at an astonishing speed. They were personally experiencing the wonders of all kinds of cultivation techniques. Among them, there were thousands of figures cultivating the ultimate emperor, shocking the world. They had all reached the peak of the peerless realm and were trying to break through to the half-step sovereign realm. They were completely imitating Di Shutian's previous situation. They were constantly groping forward. They were personally deducing the follow-up cultivation technique of the ultimate emperor, shocking the world. Di Shutian had only deduced the 12th volume of this peerless cultivation technique. Moreover, he was very clear that his current half-step sovereign realm was pushed up by the heavenly pill's tyrannical power. However, the actual cultivation process was still lacking. At this moment, he was using his astonishing intelligence to simulate himself in his mind. He put himself at the peak of the peerless realm and tried to use the normal cultivation method to break through to half-step sovereign realm. He had deduced the most correct cultivation method of the ultimate emperor, shocking the world. The path to half-step sovereign realm. Bang, bang, bang. During the deduction process, each step was fraught with danger. One figure after another, cultivating the ultimate emperor, shocking the world, walked into a fork in the road. Their bodies exploded, crumbled, and were destroyed. However, they immediately reformed and continued to try the new method. Time after time, they accumulated a huge amount of experience. He was deducing the cultivation technique. Not only was he perfecting the 12th volume, but he was also deducing the 13th volume, the supreme cultivation technique that would directly lead to the sovereign realm. Outside, the mysterious scripture revolved around the emperor's body. It reverberated, causing the wisdom in his mind to constantly burst forth with inspiration. One after another, the difficult problems in the deduction were solved. Every time, he achieved a breakthrough at an astonishing speed. Di Shutian had already used his supreme divine ability to reverse the flow of time in the chaos bead. This time, the reversal was at a rate of 1 to 10,000. One day outside was 10,000 days in the chaos bead. The ultimate emperor, shocking the world, was deduced from the 12th volume to the 13th volume. Every bit of improvement and perfection required hundreds of years, even thousands of years. In the deduction, time was but a matter of an instant. In the chaos bead, time flowed continuously like flowing water. Under the guidance of the supreme life lamp, the demon court constantly shuttled through the chaos, rapidly advancing toward the supreme god realm. The chaos was simply too vast. With the speed of the demon court, who knew how much distance they could travel every day. They had no idea where they were, but they knew that they were getting closer and closer to the supreme God realm. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1155. Throw in 2 tickets if you have one. Although they'd entered the chaos, the monsters and cultivators in the city didn't panic at all. Instead, Tion had deliberately reversed time, reversing the time difference between the outside world and the demon court to a ratio of 1 to 3,000. All the monsters and cultivators were overjoyed and focused on cultivation. 1 year was comparable to 1,000 years. This was a heaven-defying method that only the great clans and sects on the purple gold continent could use. Only the core disciples and geniuses could enjoy this supreme treatment. None of them regretted leaving the origin world with the demon court and entering the chaos. They all grasped this opportunity that was hard to come by, grasping every inch of time to cultivate and improve their own cultivation. While he was cultivating, he would often make shocking discoveries that would spread throughout the city. I've finally broken through and become an immortal emperor. Cultivating in the demon court is amazing. I can easily feel the various Taoist rhymes of the great Tao permeating the world. Moreover, every inch of space is filled with dense Khanate Qi. It's even denser than in the purple gold continent. The demon emperor is even more benevolent. He reversed time and allowed us to cultivate at a ratio of 1 to 3,000. It seems that it's possible for me to become an immortal emperor in this life. Unfortunately, if I can climb the stairway to heaven, it's only a matter of time before I become an immortal emperor. I really envy those who can join the demon court. Not only can they get an official position, but they can also enjoy the resources of the demon court. After breaking through, some cultivators couldn't help but sigh and look enviously at the stairway to heaven. Even the cultivators of the heavens couldn't enter there, unless they joined the demon court, were a monster themselves, or had shocking wealth. Only then could they go up once. During this time, almost every elite of the monster race had 3 free chances to enter the stairway to heaven after they were born. After using up all 3 chances, they need to pay a certain amount of money to go up again. Even so, it was obvious that every time they went up, they'd have a considerable breakthrough. It was a direct inheritance without any hidden dangers. In the inheritance, one could obtain a cultivation method and divine ability suitable for oneself. It was an immeasurable divine artifact. I, Luo Yaozu, truly have great luck. I was actually able to find the ruins of a wind-moon cavern in the heavenly wind region. The Tao of luck, the Tao of great luck, I'll definitely be able to cultivate to the level of an eternal hegemon. Become strong. A cultivator from the all heavens had entered a place called the heavenly wind dimension, one of the 129,600 dimensions. By chance, he had found a ruin, obtained an inheritance, and obtained a large amount of wealth in one fell swoop, enough for him to become an eternal titan. TSK. The demon court is truly amazing to be able to refine such a wonderful treasure. Now, you only need a soaring cloud card to buy anything you want. The amount of soaring cloud coins he had could be clearly seen in the cards at a glance. For mutual transactions, he only needed to stack the cards on top of each other, and the transaction could be completed automatically. Interweaving was too convenient. According to legend, this was completely controlled by the Heavenly Secret Treasure Archive. It's amazing. After the Heavenly Secret Treasure Archive was tested by the Purple Firmament auction, it immediately began to be promoted to the entire demon court. Every soaring cloud card that represented one's identity was connected to the Heavenly Secret Treasure Archive. For large transactions, there was no need to carry a large amount of soaring cloud coins. One only needed to swipe the soaring cloud card. It was extremely convenient. As soon as it was promoted, it immediately attracted the love of countless demons and cultivators. They agreed greatly, especially those who opened shops. They liked it even more. The soaring cloud card was already an item that every cultivator and demon in the demon court had to carry with them. Here, the purchase of any item had to use Lingxiao coins. In the demon court, the Lingxiao coins were quite strong. Those who passed the selection and recruitment and entered the demon court integrated into the 6 divisions of the demon court, causing the 6 divisions to operate quickly. The edicts issued by the demon court could be implemented at an astonishing speed. Every day, the demon court was changing at an astonishing speed. The essence of the moon and the stars sprinkled down. Every day, tens of thousands or even millions of demons were born. In the chaos, 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Rumble. Meanwhile, 30,000 years had passed in the chaos bead of the Imperial Jade Archive. The supreme imperial body entrenched in the chaos was cleansed by the chaos energy, becoming even more simple and unadorned. Every inch of flesh and blood exuded an aura of immortality. Within the black lotuses of each imperial indestructible imperial talisman, vast amounts of imperial true force surged like the tide. It seemed to fill the entire space within the black lotuses. Boundless sounds of the Tao circled around. The imperial chakra scroll, the 13th volume, complete. Chaos energy roiled violently. Purple gold Taoist runes surged out of Di Shirtian's body and gathered together, circling around the imperial body. Heavenly sounds preached the Taoist runes that had emerged. One by one, the runes gathered above his head. Chaos energy swirled with the Taoist runes, forming a chaos vortex above his head. Vast amounts of chaos essence surged into the Taoist runes. Strands of purple gold divine radiance shot out of the vortex like tidewater. The Tao of the Emperor controls the universe. The Tao of desire controls all life. The Tao of the Emperor, the Tao of desire, the Tao of the Imperial Emperor. After swallowing a huge amount of chaos energy, the Tao runes quickly gathered together. In an instant, a purple gold book formed above his head. On this book, there were several Tao runes filled with the majesty of an emperor, royal extreme, world-shocking book. Shockingly, there were 13 pages in the book. As it flipped through the pages, images and text appeared. In the blink of an eye, the book descended from the top of his head and entered his body. In the blink of an eye, it split into 129,600 copies, which then entered the imperial indestructible imperial talismans around him. They merged perfectly with the Jade Archive, containing the words of the Imperial Emperor within the Black Lotuses. The various abilities recorded in the Jade Archive were constantly revolving around this amazing book. It was almost as if they were worshipping it. Excellent. This trip to the necropolis of the God Emperor was the most important opportunity of my life. The Heavenmend pill pushed me to the half-step sovereign realm and allowed my nascent divinity to fuse with my flesh and blood. Although it lacked the normal process of breaking through, it broadened my horizons and allowed me to clearly understand the key to becoming a sovereign realm expert. Thanks to that understanding, I was able to deduce the complete 12th volume and understand the path of cultivation of the Sovereign Lord. Therefore, I was able to deduce the 13th volume. Today, the Imperial Chakra Scroll is finally complete. Di Shirtian's eyes snapped open, and they shone with dazzling light. His eyes shone with wisdom and foresight. He had a clear understanding of the path of cultivation ahead of him. The 108 Emperor's true apertures on the 12 demon veins continued to devour primal chaos energy, and at the same time, they continued to expand. The Emperor's true apertures condensed into oval-shaped primal chaos eggs, from which primal chaos energy continued to pour. Boundless imperial energy poured in, along with the power of desire. A mysterious, milky white gas also poured in. His Dharma idols were like babies in gestation. They hugged their legs with their hands and slept within the Imperial Emperor's true apertures. Each of the Imperial Emperor's true apertures seemed to have a life of their own. They rose and fell, pulsing with vigorous vitality every time they pulsed. Vaguely, some kind of inconceivable transformation was slowly taking place. This transformation occurred after Shurtian formed the Imperial Emperor's true aperture and entered the primal chaos to absorb the primal chaos energy. After the transformation, Shurtian had the power to stop it at first. However, he had a strange feeling that this was something that would bring him unimaginable benefits. If he tried to stop it, he might lose an indescribable opportunity, although this meant that he would no longer be able to receive the blessing of his Dharma idols. However, the blessing of his Dharma idols was only one of his trump cards. Even if he lost it, it wouldn't cause him too much harm. He would let nature take its course and allow the Imperial Emperor's true aperture to evolve on its own. The primal chaos energy transformed the aperture into an egg. The Dharma idols reverted to Khanate. The purple Imperial energy, the power of desire, and the power of desire merged into it. I wonder what kind of surprise this Imperial Emperor's true aperture will bring to me. The opening of the true aperture is indeed extraordinary. There are definitely secrets within it. Shurtian said in a deep and meaningful voice. The gains from this seclusion were enormous. The Imperial Emperor's true aperture in his body was almost full to the brim with the 12th rank Black Lotus. He was really close to breaking through the barrier from half-step to dominator. Rumble. At this moment, the demon court, which was traveling through the primal chaos, suddenly shook violently. It was like a large ship sailing in the sea that suddenly hit a reef. The entire ancient city was shaking violently. The heavens and earth were spinning. The primal chaos energy in the surroundings constantly rumbled and shattered, transforming into the 4 elements of earth, fire, water, and wind. The ancient city, which had been moving forward, suddenly stopped. Shurtian, who was in the primal chaos bead, felt it. He suddenly stood up and rushed outside. What's going on? What did the demon court just encounter? Could there be a reef in the primal chaos? So scary. What is that? The demon court is already a half-step immortal divine artifact. What can stop it? Look, there's so many long ropes. Are they snakes? Or some kind of ferocious beast? They're alive. These tentacles have wrapped around the demon court. Could it be that we've encountered a primordial god fiend in the primal chaos? The demon court shook violently. The demons and cultivators in the city were lifted up. Their expressions changed drastically as they screamed. Looking at the primal chaos outside the demon court, they saw thick tentacles hundreds of thousands of feet long sweeping toward the entire demon court. It seemed like they were going to overturn the demon court. A terrifying aura swept toward the billions of living beings like a tidal wave. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1156. Supreme Life Lamp, illuminate all directions. An authoritative voice rang out in the sky above the demon court. As soon as the voice fell, whoosh, the Supreme Life Lamp hanging on the southern heaven gate instantly flew into the air. In an instant, the light in the lamp bloomed with golden light at an astonishing speed. It was like a bright sun, illuminating the chaotic world around the demon court. Immediately, the originally dark, chaotic world appeared in the eyes of countless cultivators. The scene outside was clearly reflected in their eyes. Octopus! Octopus, what a huge octopus! Look, there's an island in front. Octopus, so many octopus. In just an instant, when they saw the scene outside clearly, there was immediately a series of exclamations. Those voices were filled with a strong sense of horror. It was as if what they saw was beyond the scope of their imagination. Bloodstrike Guards, formation! Blood Dove coldly shouted. Azure Dragon Army, formation! Vermilion Bird Army, formation! White Tiger Army, formation! Xuanwu Army, formation! Qilin Army, formation! In just an instant, the few armies stationed in the demon court gathered at an astonishing speed and turned into a few torrents that rushed out of the 4 heaven gates. With a few soft sounds, 5 vast divine beasts formed out of thin air. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, 7 figures with powerful auras broke through the air from the ancient city. They appeared in the sky above the demon court. Bang, bang, bang. At the same time, Di Shirtun, who was wearing a black emperor's robe, walked step by step into the void, as if he was walking on a staircase to heaven. He scanned the surroundings. When he looked, his eyes narrowed slightly. Under the illumination of the supreme life lamp, he could clearly see the scene around him. Huge pitch-black octopuses that were at least tens of thousands of feet long appeared in a dense crowd around the demon court. Every octopus had countless tough tentacles on its body. They danced wildly like snakes, stirring up the surrounding chaotic chi. It looked like boiling water. They swept madly towards the entire demon court, bound them, and continuously whipped them violently. Every strike had the terrifying destructive power of a peerless master. The strength of his physical body had reached an unsurpassable level. Furthermore, in front of the demon court, there was a gigantic island. That island was comparable to the chaotic lands in the violet gold mainland. The island was only the surface. Inside the island was a huge green ocean. In the middle of the ocean, there was a dark golden throne. A middle-aged man with a cold expression sat on the throne. He wore a black robe, and his body was tens of thousands of feet tall. He emitted an oppressive pressure. Around the throne were countless giant octopuses crowding around it, especially the 4 golden octopuses under the throne. A ruthless look appeared in the middle-aged fiend god's eyes. Primordial fiend god, octopus emperor, Paul. At some point, Meishin had appeared beside Di Shirtian. Her expression changed slightly as she looked at the primordial fiend god. Octopus emperor, you're blocking the demon court. Do you want to make an enemy out of us? A layer of frost appeared on her face. You know the name of the octopus emperor? The middle-aged god glanced at the Ling Shao demon court and laughed strangely. I didn't expect that the octopus emperor, would encounter such a big fat fish while wandering in the chaos space. This supreme divine artifact is one of the top 10 divine artifacts I've seen outside of the supreme divine realm. It's a good opportunity to snatch it and make it my mount. All the beauties in the city will be my concubines. Maniacal laughter reverberated in the chaos as he shouted, "Children, kill. Slaughter all the males in the city and leave all the females behind. Destroy the city, and I will reward you handsomely." Roar, roar. As soon as he finished speaking, countless Archean octopuses spat out of the island like a tide, sweeping toward the Ling Shao demon court. These octopuses were indeed creatures that lived in the chaos. Even the weakest one was equivalent to a peak ancient celestial demon. Most of them were ancient demon gods. They blotted out the sky and covered the earth. There were probably hundreds of thousands of them. Kill. Di Shirtian didn't waste any words. He only spat out the word coldly. Rumble. The high firmament demon court shuddered violently, and the primordial octopuses that were entwined around it exploded into pieces. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Bang, bang, bang. In the ancient city, all of the lightning-gathering towers flickered with lightning, especially those that were fused with the iron blood lightning cannons. They emitted a destructive aura. At this moment, under the continuous forging of the forging pavilion, a large number of iron blood lightning cannons had been created and fused with the lightning-gathering towers. At this moment, there were more than 1 million lightning-gathering towers. These turrets roared at the same time. Bolts of destructive divine thunder of annihilation blasted heavily on the bodies of the immemorial octopuses. The terrifying destructive power blasted a huge hole in each of the octopuses on the spot. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. However, these primordial octopuses had strong vitality, strong defense, and terrifying physical bodies. Their wounds healed at a speed visible to the naked eye under the chaotic aura. In the blink of an eye, they were restored to their original state. Dozens of cannons were needed to bombard them continuously. Moreover, these primordial octopuses were strange. Even if they were blasted into pieces, the broken flesh and blood would continue to squirm and condense into smaller octopuses. They would continue to attack the demon court fiercely. Those primordial octopuses couldn't even get close to the demon court and were blasted to death. The combat power of the demon court was getting stronger almost every day. You actually condensed the divine lightning into a lightning cannon to attack with lightning. However, you're dreaming if you think you can stop me. The Octopus Emperor Paul. Immemorial lightning talisman. Strengthen your body. The Octopus Emperor Paul saw that his octopus army could not even get close to the demon court. They were directly blasted into pieces by the lightning cannons. Some could not even revive. After being blasted into powder by the dense lightning cannons, his face turned cold. He roared and suddenly threw out a purple jade talisman. It appeared above the octopus army. Swish, swish, swish. Shadows of jade talismans imprinted themselves onto the bodies of all the ancient octopuses. A rune appeared on each of their foreheads. The octopus army howled. He was even more fearless. Bang, bang, bang. The dense thunder of destruction bombarded these octopuses, but strangely, these octopuses were not blown to pieces again. Instead, the seals on their foreheads flashed quickly and turned into huge jade talismans in front of them. The destructive thunder of destruction collided with the talisman shadows. That talisman shadow was like a tautai as it swallowed the divine lightning of annihilation in one gulp. It disappeared in the blink of an eye. Most of the destructive force was swallowed by the jade talisman. Only a small part of the destructive force landed on the octopuses, but it couldn't break their bodies at all. The destructive force against the octopus army was greatly reduced. Not good. That's the immemorial lightning talisman that was born in the chaos. It's a top-tier, innate spiritual treasure. I didn't expect the Octopus Emperor to have such a treasure. Mei Xian's expression changed slightly as she spoke. 5 armies kill. Bloodstrike Squad. Imperial Immortal Formation. Di Shirtian calmly gave the order. Celestial Emperor Chariot. Rumble. Kill. 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 The 5 troops roared and formed a 5 troops battle formation, condensing the Divine Beast True Body. The Divine Beast True Body, which was hundreds of thousands of feet in size, appeared in the sky above the demon court. They let out cold, murderous roars and charged toward the octopus army. The azure dragon opened its mouth and spat out a mouthful of azure dragon breath that enveloped an immemorial octopus. The immemorial octopus flesh decayed at a speed visible to the naked eye, and it turned into ashes. There was a terrible poison in the ashes. The vermilion bird's vermilion bird divine flame burned the octopuses to ashes. The white tiger's terrifying sword light shredded the octopuses to dust. The black tortoise's frosty breath froze thousands of miles. The Chelan rushed over and tore the immemorial octopuses to shreds. The Bloodstrike Guards formed groups of 129,600 and set up the Ultimate Emperor Indestructible Formation. Rumble. Hundreds of thousands of feet tall Imperial Emperors in blood-red Imperial robes formed out of thin air. The Imperial Emperors looked exactly like Di Shirtian. Each Imperial Emperor's power was comparable to a peak unparalleled expert, and they were close to the strength of a half-step sovereign. This extreme Emperor Immortal array was condensing and summoning the power of Sakura. The Imperial Immortal True Body punched out, and dozens of immemorial octopuses were smashed to pieces. Tragic. The battle was extremely tragic from the very beginning. The smell of blood filled the chaos space. On. The immemorial 9 dragons pulled the celestial emperor's chariot. Di Shirtian stood on the chariot and casually pulled out the Demon Slayer war spear. A monstrous emperor's aura rolled toward the octopus Emperor Paul like a tidal wave. Wherever it went, the chaos space was strangely distorted, and there were faint ripples. I don't care if you're the Octopus Emperor or the Octopus Ghost. Anyone who dares to attack the Demon Court will be killed without mercy. Di Shirtian looked coldly at the Octopus Emperor on the island and said coldly. The Celestial Emperor's chariot charged forward at an astonishing speed with a monstrous aura. The war spear in its hand was pointed at Paul, and surges of imperial immortal true force poured into the war spear. 9 Devil Slayer strikes. 1 strike. 2 strikes. In just an instant, the Demon Slayer war spear was like a heavy mountain as it slammed toward the Octopus Emperor. It was the powerful 9 Devil Slayer strikes. Half-step Sovereign, Dishurtian's power was unusually reserved. As long as he did not make a move, ordinary people would not be able to see through his cultivation. The moment he made a move, the majestic aura caused the Octopus Emperor's face to change. He let out a cry of surprise, but a golden whip instantly appeared in his hand. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1157. This golden whip was covered with countless chaotic Tao runes that intertwined with a mysterious Tao rhyme. It exuded a powerful spiritual pressure. As the Octopus Emperor turned his wrist, the golden whip in his hand started to vibrate in an unimaginable trajectory. In an instant, hundreds of millions of golden whip shadows enveloped the surrounding chaos. Wherever it went, the chaos was continuously destroyed by the whip shadows. Some of them swept towards the Demon Slayer battle spear, while the rest swept towards Dishurtian. The Octopus Emperor exuded a powerful primordial chi that belonged to the primordial God Fiend, as well as an immortal aura. Indistinctly, the surrounding chaotic chi gushed into it in a frenzy. Kid, don't be so arrogant. The Octopus Emperor, am also a half-step sovereign. I'm not afraid of you. The Octopus Emperor roared with a ferocious expression. Rumble. The silver-white Demon Slayer battle spear in Dishurtian's hand became tens of thousands of feet long. As he executed the 9 Demon Slayer strikes, the vast Demon Slayer will shot out from the battle spear like a tidal wave. Countless heavenly spirits appeared on the battle spear, letting out cries of demon slayers as they converged into a monstrous torrent. With Dishurtian's strength, every strike had the destructive power of a half-step sovereign. As for the 9 Demon Slayer strikes, every strike was twice as powerful as the previous one. At this moment, they were stacked together. Immediately, the silver-white divine radiance that erupted from the battle spear shook the chaos. Crack! The chaotic chi churned violently, surging crazily, collapsing continuously, evolving into a new world full of destructive power surging out like a tide. Hundreds of millions of divine lights pierced through the chaos aura. When they collided with the golden whip shadows, the equally terrifying golden whip shadows only lasted for a few seconds before they were shattered by the battle spear. They were annihilated inch by inch under the Demon Slayer will. The battle spear was unstoppable. The whip shadows that were blasting towards Dishurtian continued to surge in front of the dazzling Heavenly Emperor's canopy, but they were unable to break through the canopy's defense. You dare to harm me, the great Octopus Emperor Paul. Amidst a furious roar, the golden whip in the giant Octopus Emperor's hand was forcibly broken apart. However, the power that erupted from the whip strangely annihilated all the spirits that appeared on the battle spear, weakening the demon-slaying power in the battle spear. However, the battle spear had already heavily bombarded the Octopus Emperor. At the critical moment, the Octopus Emperor tilted his body slightly, and the battle spear struck his right shoulder. Puff! The spear pierced into the Octopus Emperor's shoulder. However, a tyrannical force immediately burst out of his body. What a powerful fiend god body. Even the Devil Slayer battle spear only managed to penetrate 100 zhang into his flesh and didn't manage to pierce through his body. It is indeed terrifying. It has the strength of this Emperor's Emperor physique after I proved my Tao through strength in the ancient era. As expected of a powerful primordial fiend god born from the primordial chaos. After this blow, Dishurtian couldn't help but secretly flash through his mind. For the first time, he had a certain understanding of the primordial fiend gods. The Octopus Emperor's physical defense was not only tyrannical, but also felt like he had struck an extremely soft cotton. A part of the force that fell on the Octopus Emperor's body was directly deflected to both sides by the Octopus Emperor's body. Moreover, the Octopus Emperor's body was exceptionally hard, even more terrifying than divine iron. He was secretly in awe. He was quite wary of these primordial fiend gods born from the primordial chaos. They were indeed extraordinarily terrifying. Ah, ah, ah. The Octopus Emperor's face was full of anger. He roared, his eyes full of violent light. No matter who you are dead. How dare you hurt the great Octopus Emperor? Today, the great Paul will let you know how terrible it is to hurt me. I will let you see the ferocious Octopus Emperor. Rumble. Paul, who had maintained his human form, roared. His demonic hair danced wildly, and bursts of purple divine brilliance burst out from his body. He rushed out of the island and appeared in the primordial chaos. The primordial chaos tumbled violently, emitting a terrifying roar. Countless purple tentacles stretched out like a tide, spreading in all directions. Each tentacle was tens of thousands of feet in size. They could twist and boil the primordial chaos. A huge purple octopus millions of feet long appeared out of thin air in the primordial chaos. On the head of the octopus was a human head. It was Paul. He wore a purple gold crown on his head and held a green scepter in his hand. He stared at Tion with his huge eyes. He shouted coldly, "Today I will let you experience the great prophecy technique of the Octopus Emperor. I am the primordial supreme." Rumble. The Octopus Emperor waved his scepter, and as soon as his voice fell, an incredible mysterious power appeared on his body. Suddenly, Paul, who was originally in the form of a huge octopus, transformed into a vast god-fiend. This god-fiend's upper body was human, but its lower body was a huge snake. There was a scorpion-like barb on its tail. It flickered with cold light. He held a terrifying white-boned spear in his hand. A kind of pressure that was brimming with supremacy rushed towards Sakura. The Octopus Emperor turned himself into a primordial supreme. Today, I will let you know the consequences of offending the Octopus Emperor. Watch my great prophecy technique, you are a pig. The voice of the Octopus Emperor came out from the mouth of the primordial supreme. He sneered crazily and pointed his spear at Tion. With this point, a mysterious power fell on him. Great prophecy technique. Tion's expression was cold. He could clearly feel the mysterious power quickly pouring into his body and exerting itself on him. His feet were strangely transforming into a pig's feet. Reverse. The power in his body was rapidly disappearing, as if he was really transforming into an ordinary pig. This reversal was almost unstoppable. The word of the Supreme, my words are the will of heaven, break. Tion's Emperor's aura emerged like a tide. The Jade Archive condensed from the Supreme Emperor's immortal Emperor talisman, and his body burst out at an astonishing speed and poured into every inch of his flesh and blood. The great prophecy technique that poured into his body was directly shattered by the power of the Supreme Emperor's prophecy technique. In front of the Supreme Emperor's prophecy technique, the difference between the Supreme Emperor's prophecy technique was like the difference between an adult and a baby. His legs, which had been reversed, recovered in an instant. The real will be eternal, and the illusory will eventually be destroyed. The great prophecy technique has been dissipated by this emperor. After Tion shattered the great prophecy technique, he saw the Octopus Emperor, who had become an immemorial sovereign, sneered and spit out a decree full of inexplicable emperor's aura. An invisible force full of supreme power shrouded the Octopus Emperor out of thin air. No, my great prophecy technique is invincible. How can you break it? Feast of Death. The Supreme Emperor's prophecy technique was domineering. It could be said to be one of the most incredible god powers in the world. Although the great prophecy technique was a godly god power, it couldn't match the Supreme Emperor's prophecy technique at all. under the power of the Supreme Emperor's prophecy technique. It could be clearly seen that the immemorial sovereign, who was originally standing in the chaos, was constantly dissipating. The legs below became countless tentacles again. Seeing this, the Octopus Emperor's eyes flashed with horror. Taking advantage of the fact that the power of the Great Prophecy technique had not completely dissipated, the white bone spear in the Supreme's hand blasted heavily towards Deshurtion. Outside the spear, scenes of death and life holding a feast were transmitted, chasing eternal life in death. Countless hymns of death reverberated outside the spear, a kind of terrifying power that could crush everything and split the heaven and earth apart, directly swept towards Sakura from the battle spear. In an instant, Deshurtion's sharp senses smelled the scent of death. He vaguely felt that even the Celestial Emperor's canopy would be pierced through on the spot by the spear. Obviously, the Octopus Emperor wanted to launch a sure-kill attack when the Great Prophecy technique dissipated. You're still a little lacking if you want to kill me. 9. Devil Slayer strikes. Deshurtion raised his arm again, and the Devil Slayer battle spear aimed straight at the oncoming white bone spear. With a twist of his wrist, he blasted out with Supreme Emperor's might. First, Devil Slayer strike. Second, Devil Slayer strike. Third, Devil Slayer strike. Fourth, Devil Slayer strike. Deshurtion blasted out 4 strikes. The power contained in each strike didn't dissipate. Instead, as the spear retracted, it directly poured into his body. After circulating 1 round, it poured back into the spear. This caused the Devil Slayer power in the spear to double with each strike. After 4 consecutive strikes, the power contained in the spear had directly crossed over to the Sovereign Realm. Rumble. The Devil Slayer battle spear and the white bone spear collided head-on. For a moment, in the chaos, a silver-white battle spear and a gray-white battle spear collided violently. In an instant, the surrounding chaos completely collapsed, and a vast heaven and earth opened up crazily. The terrifying destructive power completely stirred up the chaos within a radius of millions of miles. Kacha, the terrifying destructive power. Even if a peerless expert entered, they would be instantly crushed into powder and completely annihilated. The power contained in the Devil Slayer battle spear was extremely terrifying. The white bone spear only lasted for a moment before it immediately shattered at a speed visible to the naked eye. It turned into powder. The Devil Slayer battle spear blasted the Octopus Emperor's body in an unparalleled manner and pierced through his heart on the spot. No! A trace of fear appeared in the Octopus Emperor's eyes. His entire vast god-demon body was instantly torn into billions of pieces under the violent power and shot out in all directions. The Octopus Emperor, will not let this go. Countless pieces of flesh and blood wriggled crazily, turning into countless Octopus Emperors and quickly escaping in all directions. Before they escaped, they left a ruthless sentence. You have no chance. The huge demon court appeared out of thin air above the Octopus Emperors, completely enveloping all the flesh and blood. In the demon court, the ultimate Emperor Jade archive spun wildly, and the ancient city instantly turned into a terrifying black hole. It completely covered the chaos within a radius of millions of miles. All the flesh and blood, along with the chaos chi, were swept into the ancient city. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1158. It's a new week. Brothers, help me get a few recommendation tickets. Thanks, Drifting. Impossible. Is the great Octopus Emperor going to die just like that? No, slaughter down Monarch. You have to avenge me. The demon court suppressed the chaos with a domineering aura. It was so fast that the Octopus Emperor didn't even have time to escape. He was caught on the spot. The Ultimate Emperor's Jade archive circulated wildly, erupting with a mighty force that left the Octopus Emperor, who had been shattered into billions of pieces, unable to resist. They were all sucked into the demon court. However, he didn't send all of them into the Ultimate Emperor Jade archive. Instead, he sent a large portion of the Octopus Emperor's clones to 129,600 different spaces and used the power of space to suppress them. Some of them were sucked into the Ultimate Emperor's Jade archive. Whoosh! A blazing chaos flame appeared on the Jade archive, and the Octopus Emperor's clones were sent in. They didn't even wait for their bodies to fuse into one before they were immediately burned and refined. Chains of law bound the Octopus Emperor, grinding into his flesh and blood, constantly extracting a tremendous amount of godly and demonic power. The Octopus Emperor's soul, various divine abilities, spells, and even his cultivation memories were extracted. The Great Prophecy Art, in particular, was constantly extracting the Great Prophecy Art. The past, the present, and the future are all within the prophecy. Reality can be reversed, and illusions can be realized, turning the impossible into the possible. The Snow-White Talisman of Prophecy in the Jade archive originally only had a small corner. Now, as the pure Great Prophecy Art was extracted from the Octopus Emperor's body and poured into it, it began to grow at an astonishing speed. Before long, it had formed a complete talisman of prophecy. But that wasn't all. The Talisman of Prophecy art was still growing and transforming at an incredible speed. Damn you! Who the hell are you? How dare you try to take away the almighty Octopus Emperor's innate oracular art? You'll regret this. You'll suffer retribution. Dowlord Slaughter will avenge me. The Octopus Emperor saw his clones being refined by the chaotic divine flame. His blood was refined and sent into the blood sea of the Blood Tao Lotus. The enormous power in his body was poured into the entire ancient city. Even his god arts and spells were constantly being refined and taken away. This was a complete death, a true fall. Not even the bones were spared. Who is so savage? Even more savage than me, the Octopus Emperor. Rumble. Under the continuous refinement, enormous energy poured into the ancient city like a tide. In an instant, the ancient city became even more solid. The demon court expanded again. Then, a large amount of low-grade god crystals were integrated into the ancient city. Under the infusion of enormous energy, the ancient city transformed crazily, constantly upgrading to supreme-grade god crystals. A half-step Dominator Octopus Emperor had an enormous amount of energy. If not for the fact that the Great Prophecy Art of Octopus Emperor was restrained by Di Shurtian's Supreme Emperor speech, the Octopus Emperor might have been a near-invincible existence among half-step dominators. The Great Prophecy Art was heaven-defying, but it encountered the even more heaven-defying Supreme Emperor speech. The Octopus Emperor, who had been separated, couldn't resist the Emperor Jade archive's refinement at all. Part by part, he was refined. Before long, the Talisman of Prophecy Art of Prophecy in the Jade archive transformed into a great Tao heavenly pillar. Moreover, this heavenly pillar was constantly condensing, with countless Tao runes flickering inside. The half-step Immortal Demon Court refined the Octopus Emperor at lightning speed. Not long after, the entire Octopus Emperor was refined. All of its divine abilities were stripped away. After refining, it was discovered that the Octopus Emperor had a natural regeneration divine ability in addition to the Great Prophecy Art. Even if a part of its body was cut off, it could grow back again. It was an innate ability. This divine ability allowed the regeneration talisman to reach perfection. It formed a great Tao heavenly pillar. After the refinement was completed, the demon court size had expanded by nearly 1/3 again. It was even more vast. Your Majesty, all of the immemorial octopuses have been killed. However, they are extremely strange. Every piece of flesh that is cut off can automatically condense into a weaker immemorial octopus. Unless they are burned to ashes by divine flames, they are almost immortal. However, they have all been imprisoned. Your Majesty, please give the order to deal with them. While the demon court was refining the octopus emperor, Blood Dove had led the Blood Kill Guards and the 5 armies to wipe out the entire octopus army. However, the octopus emperor's vitality was extremely tenacious. Even if there was only a little bit of flesh left, it could condense into an octopus's appearance again. It was just that its strength would be weaker. However, they had all been sealed. Tion glanced at the large number of immemorial octopuses that had been sealed. A majestic look flashed across his face. He was about to give the order. Suddenly, Dan Huang, who was dressed in a Taoist robe, hurriedly ran out and came in front of him. He bowed respectfully and said, "Your Majesty, these immemorial octopuses have such strong vitality and the ability to regenerate. Your Majesty, please give these immemorial octopuses to me. I can use their blood essence to refine the immortal divine pill that I have developed. It will increase the foundation of the demon court." His face was full of anticipation. For a cultivator like Dan Huang, who was extremely obsessed with alchemy, nothing was more attractive than developing and refining new elixirs. The immemorial octopuses in front of him were the best alchemy materials for him. Refine the immortal divine pill? A thought flashed through Shirtian's mind. After pondering for a moment, he nodded and said, "All right, then seal these immemorial octopuses with the ice seal technique and leave them to you. After you develop the immortal divine pill, share the pill formula with the immortal wine pavilion and refine the immortal divine wine. Also, give half of the immemorial octopuses to the immortal wine pavilion." "Thank you, Your Majesty." When Dan Huang heard this, he was overjoyed and ran to accept the immemorial octopuses. What a powerful, great prophecy technique. It can increase one's strength so much, and it can even weaken the enemy's cultivation and forcibly reverse life. I recognized that immemorial sovereign just now. He is one of the immemorial sovereigns in the sovereign divine realm, called the Death Sovereign. If the Octopus Emperor really gets his power, I'm afraid it will be extremely dangerous today. But husband, what kind of ability did you use to suppress the great prophecy technique? Mei Xian blinked her eyes and asked, "You're right. The sovereign's word." Sakura calmly spat out a sentence. He had several supreme treasures in his hand, as well as a small world that was directly taken from him. Sweeping his gaze over the items, he saw a purple gold crown in his hand. There seemed to be countless emperors flashing on it. It was a high-rank Khanate spirit treasure. The azure scepter was refined by the Octopus Emperor himself from various spirit items in the chaos. It was called the Scepter of Prophecy, a top Khanate spirit treasure. The talisman was the immemorial lightning talisman, a top Khanate spirit treasure. In the small world that was taken from him, various spirit items and divine items that could only be nurtured in the chaos appeared one after another. Each and every one of them was a priceless treasure. In the chaos, this emperor is a pauper. Robbery is king. Sakura couldn't help but let out a sigh as he placed the crown on his head. Instantly, the emperor's chi gushed in, making him even more dignified. Endless emperor's chi revolved around him. TSK wealth? All of it is great wealth. The chaos lives up to its name. Any of the treasures nurtured in it would be enough for countless experts to fight to the death in the purple gold continent. Lunatic Emperor, you want us to rob them? The primordial god fiends are really rich, so rich that they're overflowing with oil. Just the Octopus Emperor alone has such great wealth. Every single one of them is a Khanate spirit treasure. This is only in the chaos. You wouldn't even think about it outside. Dark opened his mouth wide, saliva dripping down his mouth. If the primordial god fiends we meet on our way to the sovereign divine realm have no evil intentions, then forget it. If they do, kill them all and plunder their wealth. Expand the demon court. Tion's eyes also flashed with radiance. However, he still had a bottom line in his heart. His principle had always been that if others treated him well, he would reciprocate kindness. If they violated him, he would return the favor 100 times, 1,000 times. The primordial god fiends were a whole. He also felt that if he befriended some primordial god fiends, he might be able to reap great benefits. Blindly being ruthless would only lead to a dead end. That island is actually formed from the living soil of the 9 heavens. After refining it, I should be able to obtain a large amount of living soil. There's actually a primordial spring in the ocean. Good. If I integrate this spring into the demon court, the demon court will no longer lack water. Tion glanced at the island again, his eyes flashing. The entire demon court swept towards the huge island, dragging the entire island into the ancient city. The island was constantly tempered by the ultimate emperor's jade archive, returning to its origin. It condensed into the living soil of the 9 heavens, and the primordial spring was taken away again. It integrated into the demon court. Immediately, the water chi in the demon court became abnormally active. Let's continue. Our target is the sovereign divine realm. Tion cleaned up the entire battlefield. He didn't stay any longer. The sovereign life lamp lit up again and hung back at the south heaven gate. He continued moving towards the sovereign divine realm. The officials returned to their posts. Tion looked at Bewitching Heart and asked, "Bewitching Heart, what's Tao, Lord Massacre's position among the primordial god fiends?" The clamor of the octopus emperor before his death was also engraved in Sakra's heart. He naturally began to pay attention to Tao, Lord Massacre. If the octopus emperor wanted him to help him take revenge, he definitely wouldn't be a weakling. Husband. A hint of seriousness flashed across Bewitching Heart's face when she heard that. As they walked towards a jade pool, she said, "Among the primordial god fiends, they can basically be divided into 5 levels. Oh. Tion nodded with interest and gestured for her to continue. Because the primordial god fiends were born from the chaos, they were almost born as experts. Especially their bodies. They could resist the corrosion of the chaos. Once they were born, even the weakest of them was comparable to an ancient demon sage. This is the first level. It can be said that they are the newborn of the primordial god fiends. As long as they are born, they only need an extremely short period of time. Even if they are in seclusion, they will be able to become an ancient heavenly demon expert. The second level is the second level. The third is the ancient demon god level. The fourth is the half-step sovereign level. The fifth is the primordial sovereign level. If you like this work, you're welcome to come at Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1159. These 5 levels include almost all life forms, wild beasts, and even primordial god fiends in the chaos. Charm-Xin was completely open to Tion. As long as she knew something, she would tell him without holding anything back. She continued, Octopus Emperor Paul, who died in your hands earlier, was a 4th-level existence. Moreover, he was one of the sovereigns. The great prophecy art can be said to be heaven-defying. When necessary, it can greatly weaken the enemy and strengthen oneself. He's the most difficult to kill, and the Slaughter Dao Lord he speaks of is even more terrifying than him among the primordial god fiends. He's one of the top 3 half-step rulers. It's said that he's only a stone's throw away from becoming a prime. Don't be afraid, crazy emperor. With your strength, I don't believe that Slaughter Dao Lord can do anything to you. If he dares come, kill him. There's no need to fear him. If one comes, I'll kill one. If 2 come, I'll kill both. The primordial god fiends are all filthy rich. They're perfect for funding us. Dark narrowed his eyes with a strange smile. Slaughter Dao Lord? Even a primordial prime won't be able to make me bow my head, let alone him. If he comes, I'll just kill him. Tion spat out coldly. They entered the Nacre pool together. With the battle over, the demon court continued on its journey into the unknown. However, this battle had given the monsters and cultivators of the various facets a good example of how to understand the chaos. What a terrifying chaos! The primordial god fiends that live in the chaos are truly terrifying. That army of primordial octopuses has the strength of an ancient monster spirit god. There's so many of them. No wonder some major powers say that opportunity and danger coexist in the chaos. There's no such thing as luck. Don't enter the chaos so easily. No wonder so many experts don't dare to enter the chaos even after becoming a peerless major power. So it's so dangerous. Even a peerless major power can hover on the brink of death at any time after entering. If a major power had encountered that octopus emperor just now, they probably wouldn't even have been able to escape. They would have died on the spot. Good. It's a good thing that we're in the demon court. This demon court is really fierce. The Iron Blood lightning cannon is extraordinarily strong. Moreover, there are more of them than before. Only in the city is it truly safe. No, I have to work hard on my cultivation too. The stronger I am, the greater my chances of survival in the primal chaos. In the past, the all-heavens cultivators and monsters were excited to enter the primal chaos. Although they knew that the primal chaos was fraught with dangers, those were merely rumors. It was far more realistic and shocking than actually witnessing it with their own eyes. Now that they had seen it with their own eyes, they felt an invisible pressure in their hearts. His desire to become stronger and stronger was growing stronger and stronger. While the demon court continued to move forward, the purple gold continent was full of excitement. First of all, in the heaven-toppling ancient map, as a large number of demons from the demon court entered, the battlefield instantly became extremely intense. In the ancient map, if a human cultivator and a demon cultivator were to meet, it would immediately lead to a fierce battle. Often, it would end with one side dying. Moreover, many of the demon god clan's hidden pawns made their moves one after another, constantly using assassination methods. The battle for the 3 lists and 1 chart was exceptionally fierce and jittery. Every bush and tree was an enemy. Every moment, a large number of peerless geniuses fell in the ancient map. Their souls were destroyed. At this moment, in a certain space in the endless void, an island covered in white bones was rapidly traversing the void. Every moment, it passed through countless spaces. There was no pattern to it, as if it was drifting randomly. On the island, strange trees formed from skulls grew. They emitted an evil light. At the very center of the island, there was a strange altar. On the altar, a pitch-black coffin sat quietly. Images of mountains of corpses and seas of blood appeared on the strange coffin. It seemed to be filled with the aura of death and carried with it a sinister chill. Strange runes flickered constantly on the coffin. Every time they flickered, they would absorb a large amount of the aura of death from the surroundings and integrate it into the coffin. Whoosh! The undying coffin suddenly opened, and a body that resembled a withered tree instantly drilled out and stood beside the coffin. It was true Lord Ku Rong who had self-detonated in front of Deshurtion. This guy did not die even after self-detonating. In front of him, a mysterious ancient mirror quickly scanned back and forth in all directions, patrolling. In the mirror, all kinds of images flashed constantly. There was a heaven-toppling ancient map, countless countries, and humans working hard. Cultivators working hard to cultivate, and even the vast mountain ranges and the hundreds of races in the heavens. It flickered rapidly. No, absolutely impossible. How could the Demon Emperor leave so easily? Could it be that he forgot the bet with this true monarch? Impossible. The bet involved so many connate spiritual treasures, and there's also a superior grade connate spiritual treasure, the Cloud Gathering Banner. This is a connate spiritual treasure that the Demon Court needs. Given the Demon Emperor's character, it's absolutely impossible for him to do nothing and lose the bet after 60 years. True Lord Ku Rong's eyes were filled with endless doubts, and all kinds of thoughts kept spinning in his mind. He used the heavenly peaking mirror to observe the heavens and the purple gold mainland, but he still could not find any trace of Deshurtion. Now, the most obvious sign was that the Demon Emperor had left the origin world and the purple gold mainland with the Demon Court and most of the demon clans in the heavens and the purple-gold mainland to enter the chaos. However, he still could not believe this. He absolutely did not believe that the Demon Emperor would be willing to lose the bet back then. The victory or defeat of this bet was definitely not only related to the ownership of those connate spiritual treasures, but also the Demon Emperor's face and the prestige of the Demon Court. Putting himself in the Demon Emperor's shoes, Ku Rong felt that if he were the Demon Emperor, he would definitely secretly search for the location of his real body. It was impossible for him to leave so easily. He was willing to admit defeat. Could it be that the Demon Emperor's leaving the purple gold mainland and entering the chaos was just a pretense, and he did not leave himself? He just wanted the Demon Court, and even the Demon clans, to temporarily withdraw from this impending great calamity and hide in the dark to spy on the opportunity to move from the open to the dark. He himself might be relying on the ability of the Demon Court's supreme divine artifact to hide. Ku Rong would never believe that Di Tian had really left. Well, if I'm not wrong, that should be the case. The chaos is so terrifying, and all the primordial divine demons are extremely ferocious targets. Even if a peerless expert entered, he would not have a prominent position in the origin world. One wrong move, and he would be blasted into pieces. I don't believe that you, the Demon Emperor, would dare to gamble with the fate of the entire demon clan. The more he thought about it, the more certain Ku Rong was that it was very likely that the Demon Emperor had not left at all. Instead, he used a method of hiding in the dark. Well, if that's the case, I won't let your scheme succeed. I'll go out now and dig you out. Anyway, I'm immortal. Even if I fall after finding you, I can still come back to life again. I'm not afraid of you at all. True Lord Ku Rong secretly made up his mind. Without any hesitation, a light flashed in his hand, and an ancient mirror appeared in his hand. He lifted his foot and stepped out, disappearing in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, he stepped out of the endless void and appeared in a barren mountain range on the purple-gold mainland. Finally out, the moment Ku Rong appeared, a low murmur reverberated somewhere in the world regarding the departure of Di Tian and the Demon Court. In fact, there were many who had the same guess as Ku Rong. Some of the major clans in the various heavens were also quite suspicious. Many elites of the various heavens had entered the Demon Court, but unfortunately, once the Demon Court was sealed, no news could be transmitted out with Di Tian's permission. They could not get any useful information at all. It was quite normal to have all kinds of guesses. In the chaos, there was a blood-red battleship floating casually somewhere in the chaos. The battleship was tens of millions of miles in size and was vast and boundless. Every inch of the hull was engraved with blood-red Tao patterns, and the surface was like a blood-red crystal that flickered with a smooth blood-red light. Countless primordial god-fiends, primordial ferocious beasts, and even cultivators from various heavens appeared on the surface of the battleship. These primordial god-fiends seemed to have fallen, leaving only their divine souls in the battleship. However, they were still filled with endless killing intent, and each of them was a butcher who had slaughtered millions and billions of people. Their killing intent soared to the sky, revealing a ferocious aura. These ferocious god-fiends continued to kill each other on the battleship, and there was a monstrous killing intent flowing in the battleship at every moment. The divine souls of the primordial god-fiends that appeared on each level of the battleship were different in strength. The higher they went, the more terrifying they were. The more terrifying the killing intent they exuded, the more terrifying they became. On the battleship, blood-red cannons stood ferociously. There were no god-fiends behind the cannons, but they exuded a tragic killing intent. Even just looking at them made one feel as if their divine souls were being torn apart by countless killing swords. The blood-red cannons were coldly aimed at the chaos outside. There seemed to be no living primordial god-fiends on the battleship. It was just like a ghost ship, drifting forward in a deathly silence without a target. A blood-red lantern hung on the battleship, flashing and flickering, sending chills down one's spine. In the cabin on the 9th level of the battleship, a young god fiend with long blood-red hair, who was 10 million feet tall and wore blood-red robes, sat cross-legged with a blood-red sword in front of him. The sword in his hand was constantly breathing as if it had a mind of its own. It beat again and again. It was as if there were countless vengeful spirits entangling it. No, thou Lord of Slaughter, you have to avenge me, the Octopus Emperor. Suddenly, a jade talisman flew into the air from his body and shattered instantly. At the same time, a terrifying scene appeared in front of him. A vast ancient city suppressed a large number of primordial octopuses. A tragic cry could be heard. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to Kamachidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.